Tell you what, boys, right? Scots Armour should just, let me butcher, bastardize his intro more often. I've made it more funky. Fuck it. I couldn't have uploaded the Sunday with a Lads intro, and let it play as it normally plays. So I thought, why not put my own spin on it, so to speak? And if you're gonna do something better. Anybody that doesn't like trance music, go fuck yourself. But here I am, filling the void that was left bare because Scots Armour's internet is pulling up. But PPC was obviously supposed to be on tonight. Clive, we weren't entirely sure if he was going to be coming on to begin with. He might appear. I've sent him a link and whatnot. But we've been joined by Toffee as well. So for anybody that's tuned in expecting this to be, a hard-hitting, heavy political stream, it was never going to be that anyway, to be honest. So you're going to have to just make do with us for the time being. So hello to PPC and hello to Toffee. I hope you appreciated Will Atkinson, the best DJ in the world. If you didn't, I'm going to boot you off my stream. So you better say nice things.
I feel the need to apologise for the chat for my presence, to be honest. I'm a pretty poor substitute for Scots Armour and Clive. But much respect to DJ that they couldn't make it. I know what it's like when you're looking forward to watching something, because I was in the same boat. I thought, I'm looking forward to this. So respect for DJ for jumping in at the last minute. And I tell you what, some of you in the Scots Armour chat there, you fucking retards. I don't know how much I had to explain it to you. I said to you, Scots Armour can't make it, so DJ's going to set up a stream shortly. And you go, what, so DJ's streaming as well? Like, no, read what I've just said. And then you get, I can't see nothing on DJ's stream. Read what I've just said. So I ended up putting it in big capital letters. Scots Armour cannot make it. Keep an eye out for resisting the lies. Fuck's sake.
It's the same audiences too, you know what I mean? You would just assume they would know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's not like Scots Armour's audience is explicitly Indian or something. They're all expecting Indian content, and here's some guy from fucking Canada or something. You know what I mean? But fuck it. Here we are. There's quite a lot of people watching. I wasn't expecting that right off the bat. 28. So far, so I'm killing it with the internet clout, has to be said these days, after my long-haired debate. But PPC, how are you doing?
Hi. Not too bad. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that long in, so a bit stressed from trying to get back in time for 8:30, and obviously it wasn't 8:30.
Oh, you're telling me. You're fucking telling me, like, trying to phone Scots Armour for like half an hour from like 8 o'clock onwards. It's like, he's done it again. This isn't the first time this has happened. Like there's still a stream on my channel.
He's a crowdfund for better internet.
He does.
Donate in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we go for
me. We were going back and forth, chat on DJ's Telegram, like thinking, oh my god, is he going to turn up? And I noticed he'd read our comments at like 25 past. So I thought, yes, he's here. But unfortunately, internet issues.
I never know. He might be able to get one if he's internet.
Well, I did throw him that offer. I said, I'll host it on mine. And if you have to rely on your 4G, then feel free to jump on mine. Like, so if he cuts out or whatever, at least it's not capitulating his own stream, so to speak. So the ball's in his court there. If you can't make it, you can't make it. It's not that big a deal, in all honesty, because you can just, whenever his internet gets back up and running, he'll just do a stream midweek, as he alluded to, or he'll just do the one next Sunday with Bruce. So it is what it is, but it leaves me in the precarious position of trying to live up to the expectations of the great, wise Glaswegian Scots Armour, and it's something that I can't do. To be honest, I can try. Impromptu is the emphasis on impromptu. I can try, but I don't really know what I can do.
We'll just chat shit. Shoot the shit.
we can shoot the shit. And what I'm also going to do, because
What you could do
I'm going
is you
to
could do an Ask Us Anything.
we can do that as well, but I'm also
Oh
going
yeah,
to,
do that.
I'm
Do that.
also- I'm
I've
going
had
to
3 beers and I'm feeling honest.
Ooh, he said 3 PLC. I'm going to throw this in the chat though, because I very much enjoyed one of the fucking funnest streams that I think I've participated in fucking years was Sensim's call-in show last Saturday. It wasn't spicy or anything of that nature. It was just people came on to speak and whatnot, and that was it. You know, it was good crack. So I'm going to do that again tonight, and if nobody joins, they don't need to join. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about it, but the opportunity, if you want, is there. There's it in the chat.
Hey, do you know, guys? Can I say? I've just said to DJ backstage. Humor Talk. Sorry, my accent. Humor Talk is in the chat. Our American friend. I spoke to him for the first time. Like I speak to him in chats on streams, obviously, but I spoke to him on Telegram the other day, and I said to Toller, it was sort of kind of the same thing as when I first got speaking to him and you, DJ, where it was sort of like breaking the fourth wall, because I'd listened to. Remember when I first got on Telegram and I started speaking to you? I was like, I've listened to you for like a good year, and it's like a weird. I'm on here and now I can speak to you directly, and you're just a normal person, and it blew me mind a little bit to begin with. So it was like that with Humor Talk last night. I thought a couple of nights ago. I thought I've listened to you for years, and now I'm speaking to you directly. Not swooning over him or anything, but it's funny.
No, I do get what you mean though, because as like I've said before myself, like I used to watch No Chance, and I think it was just really him and Calamity back then that made videos. I made videos too, but nobody knew who the fuck I was. You know, but like No Chance was, and he still is to this day, the most subs and whatnot in a Scottish context by far. I think he's almost like 10,000 subs. But I used to watch him every time he fired up anything. Like, you know, I'd watch it and whatnot, and then start speaking him on Telegram. And you fast forward to the end of last year, and was it this year as well? I've met him twice now. You know, like, so I've gone from just like talking to him and exactly what you said there. Like, I said, this is weird. Like, this is a guy I watch on the internet, man. And then you fast forward, and I'm fucking drinking pints with him, you know. But it's because we're just normal people, you know. But there is that sort of, I don't know. I wouldn't go as far
It
as to say
genuinely is strange. You think I've been listening to you for a year, and then I'm speaking to you, and it genuinely is strange.
Is because, but if anything though, I think it goes a long way to show that there isn't really much of a fourth wall to break, right? That a lot of people are they stay in the comments and then they don't participate in any form of communication, whether it be like video format or streams and whatnot. But all they really need to do is like it is just fire on a stream or whatever. It's not it doesn't take a great deal of effort or confidence or whatever the case may be to fire on a stream, and then the next thing you know, you might get invited onto the next stream and whatnot. That's kind of what happened to me back in the day. I just started firing on the odd stream here now. I've become quite good friends with a lot of people that I initially watched as an observer in the comments, you know. So it is weird, but it just goes to show that it doesn't take very much to get to know these people if you want. So
networking.
Yeah.
And Toby Radley in the chat, you big fucking southern cunts. I don't care how big you are, lad. You're getting battered when I meet you for that comments. And for all of your Scouse comments.
I've met quite a few YouTubers over the years from just going to protests, and that's probably a good way of bumping into them as well. Like, obviously, David Close and that guy, Alistair McConaughey from The Force for Good. Anytime I go to these protests, you bump into them, so they're just normal people. Like, people think because they've got folks sitting watching them on a channel that they're some sort of celebrity or whatever, but most of the time they just come up and talk away. So,
all right. Yeah,
just ordinary people. They're just normal folk.
Yeah.
And I remember when I met David Close, I'd only been watching the show for maybe about 2 months, and he must have been like, "Oh, look, there's a fangirl." how long have you been watching the show? And I'm like, 2 months. I must have burst his bubble. I'm like, I never even knew this channel existed. But
Do you know what? Someone, yeah, there's Jerry Delaney in the chat.
it's,
I am me.
I think people need to get over the stage fright.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. Well, the first stream I ever appeared on, was fucking. It was Cyborg stream back in the day, and that was years ago. And I don't know if his stream is still on, or if he's privatized it or whatever. But I was a total nervous wreck, and then I point blank refused to appear on any more streams after that for like a good year and a half, right? And I mean, pretty sure if you want to know, no chance wiped his Telegram, but for a while it was still there. Like there was this big anticipation on his channel because it was announced I was coming on. Like, because I never appeared on streams, you know? And now people are sick fucking hearing of me, to be honest, because I'm on all streams. But back then,
Do you know what? Funny stuff. I think I probably said it before on streams in the past. As I said, when I first got on Telegram, I'm not an internet person, and it was quite alien to me. It was quite alien just setting up a YouTube thing so I could comment in chats. But when I finally got onto Telegram, like, DJ's probably the first person I got chatting to. So we were just speaking in text. And then I'm not going to do it now, but because my ma's a Ouija, I can do a pitch perfect Scottish accent.
Do it.
I'll be the judge of that.
Do it.
No, I'm not going to do it, but I can get it. Seriously.
No,
I'm not going to do it, but DJ will back me up. I sent him a voice note. I sent him a voice note, and he said, Are you Scottish? Didn't you?
He had me fooled there.
He's not very good at deciphering Glaswegian accents, so.
Man,
it was just no.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
I'm not. I can't. It's stage fright.
No, come on.
Go on. We need to hear.
I can't. Honestly.
You fucking can't. Like, yeah. You can.
The first stream I ever went on wasn't even a stream, really. It was at UNN. They used to do call-ins, and I'd got blue letters through the post for the kids for these COVID jabs, and I ended up ranting for about 20 minutes. And all you seen in the comments, because I used to comment all the time, but nobody knew if I was male or female, and all you could see in the comments was, I had no idea that was a woman. I thought that was a guy. Everybody thinks I'm a guy, even on Telegram. So
people thought you were a black man, didn't they?
They still do. I still get black women saying, "Hey, handsome." I shit, you know. I've not even got a fucking profile picture, so I don't know where. It's always like these black-looking American women, and they're probably just scammers. But I've got all these blocked people, and most of them it's black women. And it's usually just unsolicited comments.
It might have something to do with your Telegram name, to be fair.
I know, but there's a fruit, not a fruit. There's a sweetie called that. There's a game of cards called that. There's multiple things that it can refer to.
Keep digging.
It doesn't just shut up. It just refer to some big black guy.
Blackjack boy.
Aye,
very much
they
to Anglo-Saxon. That's yeah. I took a wee recording up in the attic last night. It's quite sad though to see a lot of it gone now, because a lot of it's been sold, which is exactly what my granddad had wanted. In fairness to him, like that's why he left all the boxes and stuff. So my granny has sold a lot of it, but there's a lot of it still there. So yeah, I thought I would record the remnants of it. So yeah, no, I appreciate it.
You should keep hold of that, mate. That should seriously be like a family heirloom. It was impressive. That look great. If anyone hasn't seen that, look on DJ's video from last night of his granddad's little project. It was fucking impressive.
Yeah, I do. My granny's specifically kept some of it back for me to keep, but I think if more than anything, as I said last night, it was annoying my granny, to be honest. Like the entirety of the loft was taken up, like because he retired before my granny, so like she'd be at work and he'd be sneaking up more plastering tables and whatnot. She had absolutely no idea what was going on up in that loft. Every time she needed something from a loft, oh no, I'll go and do it, you know. And for like years, some men have affairs and whatnot. Not my granddad. No, he was he was holding a different secret up in that loft.
It's something that really appeals to me, that type of thing, like my little autistic nerd side. Just like there's a shop by me that's a air kit. I think it's called that.
Yeah,
Air kit type thing. So you get like these things and paint these little planes and shit. That is seriously something that I could imagine if I got into it, I'd go fucking balls deep. Seriously impressive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure air kit. It's the same principle, isn't it? Like it all comes attached, and you have to pick it all off.
Airfix, is that it? Airfix, not air kit. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Airfix, because it's usually planes, but they do other things as well. I think you get like cars and stuff. But
this is a family-friendly stream, William, so I can't really repeat what my grandfather said about the English.
Well, DJ's granddad, like, I won't quite say it. It'll be up to him if he wants to say it. But DJ's granddad has got a very impressive heirloom.
He was a very base man. Let's just say that.
I've always liked miniatures and like things that have been scaled down. I don't know why. Always wanted to have like a doll's house, a proper one, like lit up and all fancy. But I would have a model village or something like that up in my attic. I don't know. Always liked things that's been scaled down. Just a
Would
wee
you
bit
remember
of
the film Beetlejuice?
That's what I was just about to say. The wee town, the town with the house up in the attic.
It's fascinating me, that.
Yeah, I've always thought it was pretty cool. Like slag folk that have got them, but that's just because they're jealous, I think.
We got out about a year ago. I was with a bed at the time. There was like me, my bed, a couple of their mates, and a couple of my lads' mates. And he was just about to move houses, and he went up into the attic and got it. Remember Scale Electrics?
Aye.
He got one of them out and brought. Do you know what? This is a good little example of the difference between male and females. It's quite a funny moment. He got one of these down, so there's 6 of us sitting there, 3 beds, 3 lads. He brought it down, and all 3 of us were instantly like, wow, like right into it, like let's set this up. And the girls were just sitting back, like a sort of like, wow, boys and the toys sort of thing. And we were so fascinated with it, and the girls were just like, fucking hell, you're so weird.
But gender's supposedly a spectrum, No, but it's true. Like, even from my experience as a child, like, there wasn't very many girls that like I would ever really play with, to be honest. So it was just when I was a wee boy, it was usually my wee group of wee boyfriends. I don't know how I word it without sounding weird, but like we had specific toys and whatnot, and if ever like friends, friends of my mum were over who had like daughters or whatever, like you couldn't really play with your toys and they weren't interested in that shit, your wrestling figures, your army toys and whatnot, your guns. You want to go out and play guns and football and whatnot. They didn't want to do that shit, there's
my mate's got his little girl. Have you seen like these little sort of Fisher Price kitchens sort of thing? It's just like a small little plastic kitchen that you can set up. He's got a boy and a girl, and his little girl is bang into it. She wants to play with that. She wants to play with prams and put the baby inside it because it's normal, and the little lad doesn't want to. Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's just a social construct, apparently. Yeah, so it fucking is. Streaky Bacon, fucking hell. By the way, just on a side note, like when did he reappear?
Oh, he literally reappeared last night. Streaky, mate, it's so good to have you back. Do you know what, lad? I was genuinely going to do like a welfare check on you because when you disappear every so often, I know you'd like to disappear and have a break from the internet, but genuinely, lad, for like the last month, you can back me up, DJ. We have been asking about you. You're a valued member of the chat, Streaky.
Yeah, he asked me a fantastic question. I love this question. Oh, fucking hell. No, wait, no, that was the wrong one. Where did it go? There's it. There's it. Fuck's sake, man.
Do you know
I
what,
think,
lad? I found out, if anyone didn't see this fucking mad cunt who DJ had the back and forth with, I found out, lad, he came from the, I don't want to fucking, I've disrespected him a bit and I don't want to. People are into what they're into. He's apparently someone from the Dave's Waffle House chat, is how he jumped on that stream. Just a
dear.
gang of fucking gimps.
Well, it's safe to say I made a good friend that night. Like the only thing I will say, I mean, as I said, like the day after that fucking back and forth, if that's how we're gonna play it down as, it's like I said a few times to people, I spent like the entirety of the next day having to explain myself, which I shouldn't have to do. I should have just told these people to go fuck themselves, to be honest. But I felt compelled to sort of explain myself in the sense that like I wasn't coming from like a retarded position. Like it's not my fault people can't comprehend what I was getting at. But regardless, I said quite a few times throughout the duration of that day that in 10 days' time or whatever, most people aren't even going to know what we're talking about, nor is anybody going to care and whatnot. But I do get the vibes. There was some people who have a legitimate bee in their bonnets as time has gone on about my my back and forth, and I'm finding that really fucking perplexing, quite frankly. It has to be said. You know.
That, like, anyone who's fucking normal and honest, when the bit that you clip, like the last 20 minutes of that convo, like the back and forth between you and fucking shit dick, to begin with, you were clearly being, like, you were bringing a bit of levity to it, and they threw it back at you. So to begin with, you said, let's turn this stream spicy. And I thought anyone who's watching that can see that you're saying that in a light-hearted kind of way. And then it sort of got a bit more heated as it went along. And then it was like, you wanted to turn this stream spicy. I was like, yeah, but no, that was a joke to begin with. He wasn't saying it like that. And it's gone on like that.
William's in the chat, right? William was on a stream. He was on a Sunday with the lads a while ago with me. Funnily enough, Scots Armour was having internet issues that night, but so it was hosted on Clive's channel. It was me, it was William, it was PBC. You were there as well, and William. And I said towards the end, white nat or ethnic? I asked them all. No, I think I said Scottish nationalists or white nationalists. I asked them all. Like, it was just a question, just a fucking question. You know, you don't have to answer. You don't have to get butthurt over my question. But like, my point is, well, I've got form of doing that. It's just a simple question. You know, it's a fucking question. But you know, I didn't expect it to go the way that it did. It was 42 was closing the stream at that point. I was like, right, so before we go, here's a quick fire round question. Spicy, let's make it spicy for the last 5 minutes or whatever. Didn't expect it to go that way. But my point is, like, you fast forward to where we are now, which is like what, arguably nearly 10 days later. And there's people that are legitimately still upset and cross about my performance. You know, go and fuck yourselves. I'm sorry, go and fuck yourselves. Nothing.
And you know, there was a key little point in that you said, and I thought, yeah, I completely back you in that. Sorry if it's upset anyone in the chat, or 42, if you watch yourself, you know I'll get on with you, and I'll be sound with you. You do spag out on people, and it's very hypocritical, where you can have your strong opinions about things, but get annoyed when other people do. For example, which I was quite annoyed about, he was going on, you know what he feels about Catholics, and fair play to him. That's his thing. Fair play. I was on a stream with him once, and I was talking about the Toxteth riots, which, if anyone's read into it, it's not what the media portrayed. It was basically the blacks who were very concentrated in specifically in Toxteth and Liverpool. They were concentrated in that area, and the media made it out that they were being oppressed, so they had to riot. Nah, they just rioted. They just fucking rioted and smashed our city up. So me and him were talking about it, and it was all perfectly sound. And then he was like, no, that's just your lived experience. That's just your personal opinion. All right then, Catholics is just your lived experience and your personal opinion. Fuck off. The hypocrisy of him, it does my head in, I'll be honest with you. I've said it before. He's the only person who I've ever, I'm quite a fucking fiery person, as you know, but he's the only person where I've completely lost my shit with on a stream. He wasn't on the stream, it was me and Sensen, but he was fibbing in the chat, and I got really angry and started shouting, "Don't fucking lie, lad." But then ended up like having my fiery temper used against me, which I feel is what happened to you. Like they use it against you, and then you're sort of forced to back down and apologise, kind of thing. Like the little snitch at school, wind you up to the point of you losing your shit, and then they're like, "Oh, look, he's fucking lost his rag." Fuck off.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not wrong in that respect. Like, just no. Like, I've been called that racist. Fucking racist. Not. I'm like, is this happening? Is this happening? Like, I couldn't believe it, and then that's when I started to get really annoyed. But funnily enough, when I was at Weatherspoons earlier on with my missus, and I want to come to this comment. Oh, William's got the screen, so Toffee, you're not getting away from this. I'm sorry, but my missus reminded me. See, like half an hour before that actually happened, I had forgotten I said this, but I'd actually messaged her privately. She was still backstage with Sense with that after the previous stream. I'd messaged her and said that I was getting weird vibes off that guy. Yeah. I went back just just for argument's sake and whatnot, if ever I needed to do so. I screenshotted my wee comment. You know, I told her that I was getting weird vibes off this guy half an hour beforehand. You know, but Toffee, please give us your Scottish accent.
Honestly, I can't do it. Yeah, just let the stream progress and then I'll do it. I can't do it. Like,
Fair enough.
stage fright.
Another one. Another comment there. Where did that go? I don't want you to come home to Scotland, Wolfie. No, I do not. I want, like, this is something this is what I was on about, like, I haven't like explained myself all the next day. And that was mainly down to Billy Blogs annoying the fuck out of me. I shouldn't have bit that bait, but I did eventually. But I think realistically, it's a sort of plausible answer to demographic decline in our countries, and that's for diaspora to return home. Or I'm not saying like American Scots or Canadian
No,
Scots.
he's calling you a liar, though. He spelled it wrong, but he's calling you a liar.
You call me a liar. What?
Wolfie. I'm assuming that's not an acronym and it's meant to say liar.
No. I don't know. But I think programs theoretically should be put into place from our government. This isn't just a Scottish thing. This should be done everywhere. I mean, fucking hell, I don't know. I couldn't even hazard a guess as to how many like Irish diaspora are out there in the world, or how many English diaspora are out there in the world. But I think that there should be a government policies put into place to, you know, for like a sort of corridor to be put into place for them to come home if they want. I'm not saying that you're going to get them all to come home, and for fuck's sake, if they all came home, then it would totally capitulate the country anyway. There would be too many people, but there should be a policy into place to allow these people to come home if they want, you know, because diaspora is synonymous with an extension, an extension of us. Therefore, any Scot who lives in America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, anywhere, but mainly predominantly these four countries, you know, there should be policies to be put into place for them to come home if they want. I've spoken over the years. I know this is anecdotal, and PBC, I'll let you jump in off this because you haven't said much in a while. But like, I've spoken to quite a few Scottish Americans over the years, just on Telegram. Yeah, it's anecdotal. 3 out of the 4 of the ones that I'm thinking of from the top of my head have expressed desires to return home if you know, the opportunity arose and they had the money and whatnot to do so. They would like to return home. The 4th one, not so much. They see themselves as an American. That's fair enough. As for yourself, with your comment, you're half English, half Scottish. You live in Britain, so no, I'm not asking for you to come home, my friend. No. This is more like for people that live further afield. But anyway, yeah, that's that. Wolfie, you could move to Scotland tomorrow. You're part of the UK, so it's a bit of a misnomer, that comment. But I just thought I would clear my position on that. But yeah, PBC. Anyway, anything you want to add about anything?
Not really.
Oh, thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Right, bye. I'll exit the studio.
Fuck's sake. No, but okay, right. But on that point, do you you've got you did you said that you've got family in Canada and whatnot. So do you not sort of see my point on that?
I've got family in South Africa, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, and I would happily have them come back home. Even the ones that were born there, because my mum's granny and her aunties emigrated in the 60s. They were £10 palms, so they went to Australia then. And I think my mum's uncle went to South Africa not that long after that. I don't know if there was any scheme or if he just chose to move there. But my mum's auntie, the one that lives in Canada, she went there years ago. I think she was in the 50s. So I don't know if they were looking for workers because it used to be really difficult to get into these countries. And then my two cousins, one's in New Zealand and one's in Australia. One's a midwife, so she had to qualify to be able to access the country. You had to have a skill to get in, and you had to have funds, so they had to have money to support themselves. Not like nowadays where you just get in a boat and you turn up and the taxpayer pays everything here for you. But to get over there, you had to have a job that they were looking for. And my cousin, who lives in Australia, he married. His wife had come to Britain. She was a teacher. She was working in schools. She met him. They became a couple. She wanted kids, but she didn't want to have them here because her dad was dying of cancer. She wanted to go back to Australia in case her dad died. And funnily enough, he's still alive. And they've got 2 kids now, but they're divorced because I don't know what happened with them. But he moved to Australia and they obviously get married. Give me a second. Connor, 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, just like PBC sort of little note. It's a bit more complicated with me. Like DJ understands my position. We agree on 99% of things, but it's a bit of a funny one with me where obviously, as he said, I'm half English, half Scottish. So I sort of see us as brothers in arms. And the independence thing, Scotland independence, I would agree with that if it was actual independence.
Yeah.
Not from the fucking getting independence and then being tied to the EU. But I'm still conflicted on it. I see us as brothers in arms, sort of thing. We have arguments amongst ourselves over the centuries, but we're still the amount that the English and Scottish have achieved together throughout history is second to none. So I'd hate to see us separate. I'd like to see, as I said, I'd like to see like a genuine independence and we can still work together. But I can't stand this fucking division between the English, the Scots, the Welsh, the Ulster, and even the Irish. I can't stand to see it. I see us as brothers in arms, all of us.
Sorry, somebody just walked in while I was speaking there, so I had to tell them to go. And my cousin, he wants to come back to the UK, but his kids are still pretty young. I think they're only 11 and 13. So until they become adults, he's sort of stuck in Australia. And then when they're old enough to travel on their own, I think he probably would come home. But the marriage that he went over there for is obviously broken down, so that's not the best. But he's committed to bringing his kids up. He's got 4 kids in Britain, and he actually took the youngest one, emigrated with him to Australia. He lasted about a year, and he hated it. He just didn't like being away from his siblings because he was the youngest of 4. And he wanted to go back. So his dad had to bring him back to the UK. He couldn't settle. I don't even know what age he is now. He must be a man now. He must be in his 20s, that boy. But it's hard, I think, because a lot of these people, they want to come home, but there's reasons. And my cousin, her daughter's just had kids in New Zealand. She wants to come home because her son lives in one part of New Zealand and her daughter lives in another. And she's sort of isolated. She lives some wee rural backwater. They built a house. And she's not got her family around about her. Her mother died here in 2020 and her dad died the year before in 2019. And it took her just over 2 days to get home. She missed both of them dying because they died while she was travelling. So emigrating does have sort of its own fallbacks, especially when things like that happen. And because it was in the middle of the pandemic, or the so-called pandemic restrictions were in place, she had to get special permission in New Zealand to be able to come back at all. So I don't know. I used to toy with the idea of emigrating, but I don't think I would like to move to any of these places, because places like Canada and New Zealand and Australia specifically went worse with authoritarian crap during what happened in the last 4 years than most of the other countries around the world did. Like the Five Eyes countries seem to crack down more on their citizens than anywhere else. So I think quite a few of them would probably come back, given the fact that the country's changed so much.
Yeah. I'll highlight this quickly as well. This last comment on this subject. Where did it go?
That's a
There it is.
great comment.
Like, I'm not on about just for the record. When I said what I said there, I'm not talking about like some fucking ninth generation American who's like, I'm Irish. I'm talking about like, without getting like too much into specifics. I'm more on about like, there is obviously the vast majority of white Americans, the same as like American Canadians and Australians, etc. Each generation that passes, like what would be considered your DNA cluster and whatnot, is sort of diluted because time progresses and whatnot. But I'm more on about like PBZ's example there, or my own anecdotal example. My great grandfather's sister moved to Canada with a Scottish man, and they had multiple children in Canada. Back when Canada was well, the part that they lived in anyway was very heavily, predominantly Scottish immigrants. Their children, a lot of them, went on to marry other Scots and whatnot. Like, they're Scottish just because they're born somewhere else. They're still Scottish, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it doesn't matter where they were born. They could have been born in Ghana. They could have been born in China. They could have been born in Canada. They're Scottish. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about some American who's like quarter Serbian, quarter Scottish, quarter Irish, and quarter Hungarian. Goes, wow, I'm Scottish, man. Well, you're kind of not. I'm not talking about them, you know. Like, it gets more complex and complicated and whatnot the further time progresses. But regardless of that fact, there is a lot of people out there who have a lot of Scottish ancestry, the same way that there's a lot of people out there that have English ancestry and whatnot. And I just think that programs should be put into place to incentivize these people to come home, as opposed to immigrants from Africa and whatnot. And to Homotalk's point, much further back in the chat, where he said that if a program like that was to be put into place, then surely we should be getting the Africans to go home. I totally agree with that. If anything, I would actually say that that's kind of where my hypothesis began in the first place, because you often hear these wanker activists going, well, you're colonizers, get off our land. Fine, fucking we will. We'll go back to our motherland. Great. But you do the same thing too. You fuck off back to where you came from, you know? Like, so I'm very much...
The difference is they didn't fucking
No, I totally agree with that. But that's what you can play them at their own game. If they're so hell bent on getting you to leave America, fine, we will, but you fuck off too, you know. So I hope
right, just before we move on from this, I honestly hate to bring it up because I'm not that type of person, but it's just become a kind of reality. Not in a genetic way, but in a I hate to say it, a cultural way almost. Scousers for any Americans in the chat. So everyone British will know this. There's this fucking ridiculous phrase, Scouse not English, which fucking makes me sick. But we have almost, not genetically, but just culturally, become our own sort of sub-ethnic group of the British Isles. And if you're being honest with yourself, say someone speaks to you in a Geordie accent, or a Brummie accent, or a Manc accent, or whatever, the first thing through your head isn't, oh, that's a Manc. As soon as I or any of us open our mouths, the first thing you think is, Scouser, that's a Scouser. Like, the first insult I'll get whenever I speak to a Sibnat is, you Scouse cunt. They'll never say, you man cunt. They'll never say, you Brummie cunt, you Leeds cunt. It's just us. So we've almost got very insular, and it's quite a strange phenomenon, but it is a fact where I do strongly identify with my Scouse heritage. So Klaus Axon just said, on the Scousers, Irish immigrants. Nah, about 1/3 of the city are probably Irish. About 1/3. The rest of us aren't. We're one of the most, and this is what does my fucking head in, what my Telegram channel is dedicated to, showing how important we were. You've both seen it. How important we were to the British Empire. We're one of the main cities in England. We've got all this wonderful history. And the media and the government, I think, have purposely tried to isolate us as if you're not the same thing as the rest of the country. You're a separate thing. And I tried to say to all my little diddy mates who are like, Scouse not English, don't let them take away who you are because of fucking Tory and Labour governments. Like, oh no, you're a separate thing. Nah, we're not. We're one of the great cities of England, the greatest city of England, in my opinion, if you come and look at it. It fucking pisses me off. I think we've been purposely isolated, I really do. And any ethno-nationalist who's fallen for that shite should be ashamed of themselves.
I had to highlight that comment there before I respond. I'm sorry. You know what, though? PPC, I don't know how much shit you get, you've had over the years for being Scottish, but like I can relate in many respects because quite often you jock bastard, you jock this, you've got like there's a lot of hate just for being Scottish.
Don't think it applies to females as much as it does to men. I've never heard any shit really.
It's like fucking hell, like
I've had people try to guess my accent.
But no, but I think like
nobody's given me any stick.
It's I find that very relatable for the same thing in the sense that so often, it's you're just like people shit on Scotland. I mean, rightfully so with our politics and whatnot, but you know, come on to fuck, like we're not all like that.
I think it's more of a attacking the males side of things because I think it doesn't matter where the women come from, they never pick out the female accent and say, oh, you're a Scouser, or you're a Geordie, or you're from Manchester. I've never really had much shit from anybody other than you for my Glaswegian accent, so just saying.
It's all love and all that, you know. Right.
Then it used to just applies to used to on the stream. Then when you first heard my voice, surely one of the first things through your head was he's a Scouser.
Yes.
And it wouldn't have been if someone was from, say, Leeds or Sheffield. Do you know what I mean?
No, Scouser. Like, without a doubt. No, actually, no, I tell a lie because you had me thinking you were Scottish.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Let me play this. We'll do a tiny bit of politics. So I'll get your opinions on this. So here's a wee video coming up. Okay.
Now, Ian Blackford, you were the leader of the SNP in Westminster. The SNP is in a lot of trouble in Edinburgh. Humza Yousaf, the First Minister's job, is hanging by a thread. Now, there are two options if people haven't been following this. Either he can get back the Green Party, who he had a huge fallout with, to back him, or he can talk to Alex Salmond's party, Alaba, the small pro-independence group. Which is it going to be? Because if he can't do either, he's toast.
We've had a very successful period working together with the Green Party through the Butte House Agreement over the course of the last 3 years or so. And of course, that has come to an end. I want to this morning appeal to our friends, our colleagues in the Green Party to recognise where we are. We are colleagues together in arguing for independence for Scotland. We've pushed through legislation where there's been mutual support. For example, we've taken 100,000 young people out of poverty with the child payment. I would ask them to think very carefully ahead of this week of the values that we both have and about making sure that we can deliver that stable government, supporting the First Minister. I apologise for what has happened this week. It could have happened in a different way, but we are where we are. But the choice that every member of the Scottish Parliament has this week is, are we going to support that government under Humza Yousaf to make sure that we deliver the legislation that we all agree on, to make sure that we've got the focus, if I may say so.
That's very notable, though. So you were a very senior figure in the SNP this morning. You are apologising to the Greens and saying, please come back.
You know, I think we could have handled this in a different way, and I'm sure the First Minister would say that as well.
Well, he hasn't apologised.
Well, he's apologised for the hurt that Patrick Harvey and Lorna Slater feel.
That's very notable, though. So you were a very senior figure in the SNP this morning. You are apologising to the Greens and saying, please come back.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me. Sorry.
You got me fucking throttled.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Greens. I'm sorry. What a fat cunt. Oh, I don't know.
Ian Bumford.
Fucking hell, man.
He's now looking for an ermine cloak.
He wants
to become a lord, apparently, now.
Next week's going to be interesting, to be honest. So, obviously, for anybody that's not in the loop, shall we say, 2 motions of or votes of no confidence motions have been put forth now, from my understanding. One from the Scottish Conservatives, one from Sensum's favourite party, the Scottish Labour Party. I'd love Sensum to come on and, have this talk with me, but he never does. It's fine. He just appears on streams and posts photos of cherries instead. Can't. But regardless, it's apparently, anyway, next Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to see the possibility of not just Humza Yousaf, but courtesy of the aforementioned secondary vote of no confidence motion, potentially the entirety of the SNP being booted out of government. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. I do think that they're going to survive this. I also think it's a bit hard.
Is this the local council elections you're talking about?
No. So the SNP booted out the Greens, or our government. Like the SNP and the Greens were the government in Scotland, the same way back in the day the Tories and the Lib Dems were. Nick Clegg and David Cameron, same principle. But Humza Yousaf's government booted out the Greens just a few days ago, and as a result of that, we've now seen a vote of no confidence being proposed, which has to be then taken to Parliament to be agreed upon, or debated on, if you will. And then the outcome of that will determine whether or not Humza Yousaf remains in his position. But in the days that followed that, the Labour Party in Scotland, Sensum's favourite party, I love you, Sensum, mate. I'm taking the piss. The Labour Party put forward their own motion, which, if is successful, would boot the entirety of the SNP out of government. So dog and pony show, theatre and whatnot aside, this could, I suppose, spell the end of Humza Yousaf's tenure in power, or it could even more dramatically spell the end of the SNP's current tenure in power, could even force an election.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. There was Wings Over Scotland said he'd been given advice, legal advice, that if they force an election to be put forward this early, because they had the last one, I think it was 2021, pretty sure it was, that they still need to post the election in 2026 as well. So there could be 2 general elections coming up. I don't know what the reason for that is, but apparently it could force another general election just 2 years' time.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. Can show, I clipped a few things here. I'll show you Alex Salmon talking about it. I think it's which one? This one here. Here we go. This is him talking about it.
His leader, Alex Salmond, who joins me now from his home in Aberdeenshire. Good morning to you, Mr. Salmond.
Good morning, Martin.
Thanks very much for being with us. I've just watched you on Laura Kuenssberg's programme this morning. You told her you're in a highly influential position and you're going to take, or Ash Regan's going to take a reasonable, positive set of proposals into those talks with the First Minister. What are you asking for?
Well, it is self-evident that Ash Regan is in a highly influential position and she's laid out very clearly what her priorities are. That's putting independence back on the agenda as the #1 objective of the Scottish Government, to move away from the identity politics that's taken up so much of the bandwidth of Scottish Government in recent years, and thirdly, to get back to the people's priorities of housing, health, transport, education, and above all, jobs and industry. So these are the 3 areas that Ash Regan will be taking forward with very reasonable proposals for the First Minister, and she's hoping to get a receptive answer.
Move away from the identity politics that have taken up so much of the bandwidth. What do you mean by that? What does that look like?
Well, let's give an exact example, Martin. I mean, people have been wondering how this crisis emerged over the last week. Actually, the source of the crisis, as I understand it, is Martin Geisler and your interview with Patrick Harvey last Sunday, which set alarm bells ringing all over the SNP when they realised they were in coalition with someone who wasn't entirely rational about looking at the Cash Review, which is an extremely impressive scientific clinical document which has to be taken very seriously and favourably. That's not what Patrick Harvey was saying, and I think a number of people in the SNP said, well, look, it's time to call a halt.
Yeah, but that's a Green position, not an SNP position. So what do you want to see the SNP do when it comes to identity politics?
Well, what I'm pointing out is that how this crisis emerged, because people in the SNP were no longer willing to be in coalition with somebody who took such a dismissive attitude to an impressive piece of scientific clinical work. So obviously one of the things that Ash Regan will be raising is the government's actual attitude to the Cash Review. I think it's clearly the SNP attitude will be different from the Green attitude, and whether they're prepared to say that they'll look upon things favourably, not just refer them to the Chief Medical Officer, has been done,
right,
but where they're relevant to Scotland, that the proposals of the Cash Review will be looked upon favourably by the Scottish Government, because it's a serious piece of work that just about everyone across society seems to find merit in, with the sole exception of the Scottish Green Party.
Of the Green.
So basically what he's saying there is that that Cash Review that came out a few weeks ago, which the one that we were talking about in the stream we sent him, and I said it was like 156 pages long. So I never read all of it, but like the sort of short version of it is that it basically recommended that trannying kids, so to speak, on the face of it, is wrong. There should be a lot more sort of, I can't remember how it was worded, but I remember just after reading it, I appeared on Sensum Stream, and I was more articulate with my thoughts to that point. But we're going back like 2-3 weeks ago now. But effectively, it was like they were recommending to stop transing kids, effectively. And obviously the Scottish Green Party took umbrage to this. Like, how fucking dare you? Like, oh my God. And Alex Salmond's jumping to the defense of the SNP, going, yeah, well, the SNP weren't in favour of it. It was just the Greens. Yeah, good one with that. Good one, mate. But yeah, well, time will tell.
Hey, lad, can we just, can you get up R's comment there about the Vikings? I just want to address about
Which
the Vikings.
one? This one. This one?
That's the one, yeah. Yeah, mate, they barely made a dent in England either. So on Merseyside, we've got certain settlements. There's a load on that Wirral Peninsula, Greasby, Airby, Hellsby, a lot of them that end with Frankby, Kirby, which is just north of exactly where I'm from. They barely made a dent here if you look into the genetic history of them. So there's small numbers of people, like there's a family called the Ericssons. There's a very small number of people who have actually got Viking names in this area. They barely made a dent here, mate. And there's a church, sorry, not a church, there's a courthouse, which is the oldest in Great Britain, which is situated in West Derby in Liverpool, which was an Anglo-Saxon courthouse. So you're right about Scotland, but they barely made a dent here either, mate. Yeah, people are saying in the chat, Anglo, Grimsby, Whitby, all of them that end in B, they're just like these little pocketed areas, but they didn't make a big, huge genetic impact on these isles. They didn't.
I really think any invasion did, in all honesty. Like, even the Romans, you know? Like, of course, they settled and did their thing. I'm not disputing that, but I don't think that they, from my understanding, from the stuff I've read over the years and whatnot, and I'm by no means a big brain on the subject matter, but by and large, I don't really think they overhauled the sort of genetic cluster, for lack of a better term, of the British.
Because Europeans don't tend to do that. We've got a history of invading, throughout the centuries. We don't tend to do that. Just look at what happened in India. We don't go over there and just rape the population out of their identity. We don't do that. It's not a thing that happens. So when the Vikings came over, they didn't just completely fucking rape and pillage us into oblivion. It just didn't happen. And what you just said there about the Romans, so all the areas that end in Esther, Manchester, Chichester, Chester, all of them, obviously Roman. But go and look into the fucking genetic heritage of the people who live there. They're not going to be Romans. They're just not.
Exactly, yeah. And it's one of those things as well. It annoys me when you hear people who are in favor of mass migration, and they say things to the effect of, "Oh, it's revenge. Well, you did it first. Colonialism. Every single country that was colonized, the people there still exist today. They weren't bred out of existence. They weren't genocided and whatnot. They still exist today. We came." To quote Hillary Clinton there, I was going to quote her, but I better not do that. But we came over there, we did our thing, and we fucked off. And to this day, those people still exist. What's happening today at present, not the same thing at all. Spicy comment.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I've said it before, lad. For some reason, I'm sure you've seen when I've got my hair slicked back, I look a little bit swarthy. I apparently have got 10% Italian ancestry. I don't know where it comes from, but apparently that's the case.
Well, PBC's 48% Ashkenazi, so
Don't talk shite. You've seen my DNA profile.
It's pretty impressive, to be honest. PBC, her DNA results show she's 99% Scottish. I mean, fucking hell, you can't get.
And what's the 1%?
Ulster.
Ulster what?
Fuck off.
Ulster Scots.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so it showed up. I always sound inbred when I say this, but you know what I mean. My my mum and her sister are married to two brothers, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So my cousin, who is literally the closest genetically you can possibly be, I haven't done an ancestry test, but she did one. So I've come up 45% English, Anglo-Saxon, 45% Scottish, and 10% Italian, but I don't know where it comes from.
My pal's done an ancestry and she's got one of the most Scottish surnames. And as far as she's aware, our ancestors are Scottish, but when she done her DNA test, it came up that she was only 64% or something Scottish, and then she's got Danish. So there is some Viking DNA because it was Denmark and Norway, some bits of like Northern England, bits of France. Mine was the Scottish region of the Central Belt and Ulster Scots area. That was it. Nobody from anywhere else. And it's pretty accurate because it's pinpointed cousins of my mum's, because their DNA matched mine. So
Well,
it is
well,
pretty accurate.
yeah, jump on, Jerry, lad, if you would. Someone jump on, we'd love to chat to you. Well, DJ knows what my full name is. So don't say it, mate, but so my first name is just as about as Scottish as you can get.
It's Constantine.
But my surname is an old, so it's obviously on my dad's side. My surname is an old English, Anglo-Saxon word that means a job, a certain job that doesn't exist anymore. And my ma's maiden name is a big Scottish clan. No, it's not Hamish, Toby.
It's Constantine.
It's Constantine.
Yeah, it's Connie for short.
Stuart Little.
Oh, fucking
It's Constantine kissing.
Kissing.
Fucking hell. Aye, Woodlander, William, fire on. Fucking, don't worry, we don't bite you. It's just a wee impromptu stream. If anybody wants to jump on, they can fire on if you wish. I will post the link one more time and then I'm going for a pee-pee. So
Post that picture of Sturgeon.
I'll do that when I come back if you want me to, but I need context for that. I don't know if it's an old photo or not.
It was some recent event. I don't know what it is. I've been trying to look and see as well, but I'm not that long back in, so I didn't really get a chance.
No, it's not Smith, everyone. It's a you wouldn't be able to guess it. It's a job that doesn't exist anymore. It's not Smith. Yeah, but it's an old Anglo-Saxon, and I've traced obviously my ma's Scottish and my dad's from around here. I've traced my dad's family name to this area specifically for like hundreds of years back. So we've got a fucking legitimate claim to this land. Blood and soil.
Is he bothered off?
Yeah, talking about like blood and soil. And it sounds a bit fucking daft when, do you know, when like fucking lefties and that here, oh, blood and soil. Nah. When I went away to Spain last year, when you come back to the place where you're from, I love Liverpool. I'm a proud Scouser. This is part of my soul where I'm from. And if you go on my Telegram channel, you'll see how much I love where I'm from. When I come back to this place, when I've been away, you just feel at home. Like, this is where I belong. These are my people. I belong here. And I'm sure all of you feel the same in the chat about where you're from.
I'm quite proud of my town, even though it's went downhill. I'm proud of the history of the place and the things that it used to stand for. And it's marking the world. Some of the people that came from my town have done some amazing things, but it's just like everywhere else now. It's totally knackered. There's nothing here.
Well, it's one of sorry, go on. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
How are you getting on?
Gail.
Oh.
Two Scousers, eh?
Yes.
I have to jump on just to say hello to our toffee.
Oh, friends.
Do you know what, girl? I love to hear that voice. She's got that old Scouse accent, Babushka. She sounds like all my aunties. God bless you, Queen.
That's because I'm an old shiv. Yeah, I'm dead nervous.
Nah, don't be.
I don't be like.
Don't you think if you listen to her, she's got that old nice Scouse accent, not nice mine, not like mine, the little harsher one.
Nah, but don't be nervous about being on. I mean, I know I'm a great guy. Like I'm very popular online. You know, painting the piss, man. No, it was the stream was never meant to be anything other than just impromptu. So from the very get go, we've encouraged people to come on if they want. So you know, anything you've got
Just
to fire
shoot the
on,
shit, girl. Say what you want to say.
join in.
You know what? I moved to the Isle of Wight about 14 years ago, and I don't have Mr. Scousers, Northerners. Yeah, it's just not the same here, and the sense of humour. Yeah.
But this is one of them places, girl. I had a mate who was visiting from Nottingham not long ago, and he said this city is not like other places. Like, they'll say hello to you in the street, or they'll try, like, if you speak to someone in the shop or a chippy or whatever, we'll try and have a little joke with you. We're like friendly people. And I've noticed the same when you're somewhere else. Like, if I walk into a chippy and just go, all right, lad, it's fucking cold today, isn't it? They'll look at you funny. But if you do it in Liverpool, they're like, yeah. And they'll have a conversation with you. And it's not like that in other places.
Yeah, well, on the island, I've brought a bit of madness on because I've got a couple of mobility scooters, and one of them's called Tank Girl, and the other one's called Harley Davidson. And I've camouflaged it so it's all army-like and that, yeah? And my little Tank Girl, she only does max speed 8 miles per hour. But you know when you're going down the hills and that, oh, it's brilliant. I put my arms out and I pretend I'm an aeroplane. Just for fun. And I've got my old German helmet. You know the Germans who are chippy up.
Yeah. Aye, yippee, the Germans bombed our chippy.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny though, what you just said there? Because even me and PPC last night, we were out at my granny's house. Granny, for anybody that's a grandmother, if people are going to get pedantic about my vernacular. And we were all in sort of mutual agreement, even though PPC's effectively, even she's from Paisley, but she's kind of a Ouija. You know, no offense. But she gets what she understands it herself anyway. But like my granny was talking about the fact that, and it's sort of similar to what you were saying there, that anywhere in Scotland, it's Glaswegian people. They're the vast majority of them are unconscious comedians. They're like same principle as what you were talking about there. With Liverpool, just unconscious comedians. You do not get that anywhere else in Scotland. Like a lot of them are just funny without trying, you know. And PBC obviously lives down there, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's not me, you know, blowing smoke up your arse because you're already big-headed enough as it is, last. Yeah, I'm sick of this. My Paisley. Like, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, there are a lot. There
You have
are
to be quick thinkers.
funny.
Liverpool and Glasgow are quite similar. They've got that same working class background.
Yeah.
And people, they're hard people. They're people that needed to laugh, to let off steam. They would laugh at bad things because it's a pressure release. So they have to think on their feet. And when you're in a shipyard or you're working in the docks or wherever it is, these men had to be able to just have a comeback. So that's why I think you get this sort of comedy. And these people, they can just sort of go into a pub and have the pub in stitches because the people are just, that's just how they think. They've got to think on their feet. And somebody gives you an insult and you can just rattle one back off at them without even thinking about it.
Like, I just find them hilarious. I mean, obviously, Scots Armour is a classic example of that. Even today, he phoned me this morning, and I'm obviously not going to divulge what he was saying in the phone, but I'm sure my grandmother must have heard me from like the other side of the house. Because I burst out laughing. It was just the most random fucking phrase. Imagine he was talking about somebody, and it, obviously because I'm having to be vague, it might not be that funny, but I just burst out laughing. But this is like a common thing. Anytime you listen to Glaswegians, whether it be on stream or in person, the stuff they come out with it's just funny. Like, they're not trying. It's just funny. You do not get that sort of camaraderie up here in Inverness.
Even the insult can be funny.
Their insults are funny. Their insults are fucking diamond. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the thing that he said. I won't say who. Okay, I won't say who he was talking about, but he said to me, and his exact words were on the phone: "The cunt sounds like he's been waterboarded with a bottle of Lucozade."
Yeah,
that is what he said to me on the phone this morning, and I just burst out laughing. Like, how did you come up with that? Like,
he said it to me the other day about a friend of ours, waterboarding.
It's like, who comes up with that? But just to backtrack ever so slightly, to point out that you said PBC, like, and I know you are anyway. Like, I rib you sometimes, but it's all in jest. I know you're proud of Paisley, and Paisley's got a lot of history, and it's very clear for anybody that follows Toffee's Telegram channel. And if you don't, then fucking do it, or you're gay. And bam, like, Toffee's proud of being a Scouser from Liverpool and whatnot. I can't say the same about Inverness. I really can't. Inverness has only got really one claim to fame.
You just died.
What? Sorry?
Your microphone. I don't know if your microphone.
No, it's not. It's sound.
No, Inverness's only claim to fame goes way back to before it was even called Inverness, and that was that it was a Pictish stronghold. Apart from that, it was never like Glasgow, with the steelworks and the shipyards of Inverclyde, etc. Like, Inverness never really had that sort of claim to fame. In all honesty, it's a beautiful city. Don't get me wrong, but it was never really prominent like Liverpool and Glasgow for shipbuilding and whatnot, and factories, and being a total sort of fucking economic powerhouse during the Industrial Revolution. It was just there on the map, so in that respect, yeah, it's not really anything to write home about, to be honest.
I think all these big towns and cities have all got that same, not so much like London, but like Newcastle, Liverpool, maybe even Manchester, Glasgow. Not even Edinburgh. Edinburgh's a totally different city to Glasgow. They're drier. They don't have the same humour. And if there's any Edinburgh people in the comments, they might agree or disagree. I don't know. Don't want to upset anybody, but I don't know whether it's just a different type of city. These other cities are more working class, whereas Edinburgh's always been a bit more well-to-do and a lot more sort of posh people settled there. Whereas you go to Glasgow or you go to Liverpool, all you hear at bus stops is your working class people's accents. You don't really hear the toffs lining up, and you'll hear people just chatting away, and you'll hear things that are funny. And they could just be shooting the shit about the weather or politics or the fact that the buses aren't turning up or the state of the potholes. You get a good bit of banter just from the normal people.
Well, as you just said, PBC, like, if you're from one of these places and you're working on the docks sort of thing, I didn't think of it like that. You need to be able to hold your own verbally. You need to be able to come back with a quick insult back when someone says something to you. And Glaswegians and Scousers are classics for that. Yeah, Babushka girl, are you on to them? Oh, obviously, do you know Birkenhead? Birkenhead, the little Jedi's over the water.
I've
got a lot of respect for them because they're a shipbuilding town and they've got cameleers over there. They see their ass if you call them Scousers. They don't like it. And they've got like this mad little expression. Oh, I'm trying to think of it now. You can keep your cathedrals and your pierhead. We're not Scousers, we're from Birkenhead. And they're obviously little fucking silly woolly backs, like, but I respect them for it. I really respect them for holding on to their identity.
I've lived in Birkenhead and Wallasey, and I found Wallasey was very much like that, particularly the schools. Yeah.
Respect to them. Hold on. This is the whole thing, what DJ says about ethnicity rather than just Europeans. We're all unique. And
Yeah.
if you bring a load of bringing it down to like a minute thing, if you bring a load of Polish people into Scotland, they're white, but they're not fucking Scottish. If you bring a load of whatever into wherever, if you bring a load of Scousers into Birkenhead, they're not Scousers, they're not Birkenheaders, they're Scousers. We've all got our own unique identity, which should be respected.
One of my most memorable trips was to Scotland. Me and my mate, we got a map to go to a rave somewhere in Scotland. It was like X marks the spot. And my mate thought I knew where I was going. And I thought he knew where he was going. So we heads off, gets into Scotland. First thing we did was run over a dog. Yeah. Then was trying to find a place to camp. So we found a place and we started pitching our tent, but it was all frigging rock, so we couldn't pitch the tent. So we ended up driving off somewhere else and we found this beautiful valley. Yeah. Climbs over the gate, pitches up the tent, gets the bong out, and we're just ready to hit the bong. Next minute, we heard all this rumbling, loud noise and that. And my mate looks out the tent and went, "You're not going to believe this. Come and have a look." So he pokes my head out the window. I was surrounded by all these cows, pissing, shitting, and farting, yeah, and licking the tents. Then we thought, nah, where there's cows, there's a bull. So next minute, I'm hobbling, my mate's running down the little hill over the fence with the tent behind us, yeah, making sure we don't spill the bong. So we drives around again, yeah, and then we ended up in this other beautiful place, pitches up the tent because it was getting a bit late, and I get claustrophobic in tents, yeah. So, and I woke up in the middle of the night with a claustrophobic attack, sparks up a ciggy, which I normally don't. Smoke ciggies, it's usually a joint, yeah. And I fell asleep with it. And I woke up to my head feeling hot. And a couple of days before, my mate spent 8 hours putting my hair in all tiny little plaits, yeah. So he scrambles out of the burning tent and off my ears in my hands, yeah. And I'm like, oh no, you know, it was a disaster, obviously. So anyway, we thought, oh, sod this, because we had no idea where this frigging rave was. So we thought we'd head back home, ended up sleeping in one of those service station things, yeah. And next morning I woke up and all my buttons had come undone, and I'm lying there, my tits exposed in the sky. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Hell, girl, you're a Scouser, you aren't you?
Yeah.
I love this comment the other way. Welcome to school.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a trip I'll never ever forget. It was brilliant.
Fucking hell, girl.
Were they Highland cows?
That's all you on there. Do you want to talk out there, love? We got the new one on.
What's that noise?
Sorry about that.
Somebody's
Snake
getting
using a snake. Hello.
Hello, I'm all
yeah,
right.
we got
How's it going, lads?
Is this Tommy again?
No, it's Morgoth. And what I wanted to get into is I've just thought I'd just pop in and just tell you a few things that's been going on this week with me or whatever. So if you've got a few minutes, how's it going, lads? Anyway,
I'm not bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I've been chased by a few cows in my time before as well, but it was a few fat slugs on the big market. But that's another story altogether. Like, Yeah, so what I wanted to get into is recently I went to like the Chinese takeaway, and what it was, I went in and I went to order some food or whatever, and the guy behind the counter, he's Chinese and he's from China, you know. But what I wanted to get into is, he said he was aware that I went on millennial or whatever, and I said that the Chinese are not retards, you know, and I was it was like quite happy with it, and so what it was, he said you can have some food, and it's on the house. I didn't have to pay for it, like, you know, and he said it's called chicken in OK sauce, you know. And what I wanted to get into was, I just said, why is it called OK? Because if food that's just like okay, whatever, it's something that you'll have at work, or like if you've just on your break, or like just come home or whatever. But if I go to the Chinese and buy food from the guy from China, I want something that's more than okay, you know. But I thought, all right, this is giving me to eat, so I'll have it. And when I took it home, it was something quite off. Just, it was like not quite right about it, you know. And what I want to get into, I didn't really like it, you know. And next time I went back to the Chinese and spoke to the guy from China or whatever, he said, "Did you like the chicken in OK sauce?" And I said, because what I wanted to get into is, people from the northeast, they're real hard bastards, and we just tell it like it is.
Yeah.
You know? And I said, well, to be honest, mate, I thought it was rubbery, you know? But because he's from like China or whatever, he thought I was saying it was lovely, you know? And I won't be much longer, lads. So he gave, I ordered like my usual order, whatever, and then I started like walking home. And I could feel like rustling in like the bag or whatever. And I looked in, and there was two eyes just like staring back at me, you know.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to get into is, I took it back and I said, why is there two eyes just like staring up at me or whatever? And he said, well, it's what you ordered. I said, no, is it? Fuck, you spacker. I didn't order this. I'm never coming here again. I'm going to order nothing, you know. And he says, well, sir, it's what you ordered. Peking duck. But anyway, thanks for listening.
Before you go though, I have an important message for you, mate. Okay, you ready for this? I hope you're listening.
Yeah, I'm listening.
You're lucky. It's too short to play, so I can't play it. I've been corrupted by my audio setting.
Morgoth, mate, if you've got time, can you please tell us about that story about the great white shark?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was. I'm not sure if I've got that much time, but I can tell you about something else that happened this week. It won't take as long, because what I wanted to get into is, I don't know if you remember that guy called from like a kids program called Kermit the Frog or whatever. But what I wanted to get into is, he's been mates with that Pepe, and apparently he's like quite based, you know. And I got him on and I said, why do you shag a pig? Because back in the day, in like Newcastle or whatever, there were real hard bastards. But if you said you'd like shagged a pig or whatever, it was just like some fat slag on the big market. But what he said, I'm quite based and I'm friends with Pepe, but I prefer being friends with pigs over other frogs. So I thought, all right, that's fine. But what I wanted to get into is, where do you like buy all your like books from or whatever? And he said he gets them from Sesame Street or whatever. And so I said, how to get to Sesame Street? Well, that went down like a lead balloon, didn't it? I don't know if they're like laughing at me or laughing with me, but there you go. Very quickly before I go, whatever. When I heard about those Jews in the sewer or whatever, I went down to Gateshead and then I got my fishing rod and like a bagel and like a £50 note or whatever, and I actually caught a Jew in the sewer, the spacker, and here's what he had to say. My name is Ben Shapiro. I can speak really quickly, really fast, really quickly. I can say 6 million syllables really quickly, really fast. I better be careful because we're on YouTube. But
I know. But before you go, I just wanted to. I had to upload to the YouTube just to show you, and it's only like a 2-second clip. So believe me, if anybody's expecting this to be some sort of rambunctious clip of high IQ content, you're going to be sadly mistaken. But I just feel that your appearance tonight, mate, can only be described best by Maximus.
You're just a rude man.
Oh shit!
Honestly, mate, I wish.
Rude man.
I'm not sure if Morgoth has got time, but he's got a quality story about fishing.
Well, I don't know if you've got time to listen to it or whatever, but how long have you got, lads?
We've got time, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember telling. I've not told this to too many people, but what I wanted to get into is back in the day, they were in like North Tyneside and then like Newcastle or whatever. They were real hard bastards, and so like what I wanted to get into is when I went fishing, my great granddad would say, why are you lads just soft? You know, because back in the day, my great granddad would go out fishing, and it was with a guy called Pablo Francisco Moat, and it was Raoul Moat's great granddad or whatever, and they'd go in like Newcastle, and he'd say, if you can't catch like a great white shark or whatever with like a hook, with like a little hook, you were just soft. Everyone just like you thought you were like gay and soft or whatever. And then so what I wanted to get into is Pablo Francisco one day, he like caught a great white shark on like on the pier of Tynemouth Pier or whatever, and then as it was flying up in the air, it bit off like his bit off his legs and his arms, you know. And because back in the day, they were real hard bastards. So what they did is they just like managed to get like a few stumps or whatever and like just glued them back where his arms and legs should be. And then he still went to work and then did like a 12-hour shift on like the crane or whatever. And then they were all like laughing at him and like taking the piss and like trying to set fire to his legs or whatever. Because back in the day, they were real hard bastards, you know? And what I wanted to get into is he then like walked in and then he was like over a day like late from work or whatever. And his missus said, where have you been? Where have you been? And he just says, well, don't worry. At least I've not been getting me leg over. But anyway, thanks for listening, folks.
Right. Well,
God bless you, Snake. What a fucking guy.
You know, we had 50 people. We had 50 people watching. We have 37 now. But you know what's remarkable? I think every moment of that was funny as fuck. So those people are welcome. But you know,
I've just got just someone who wants to say hello. If it's okay, just bear with me a second, lads. Thanks for having me on.
Is it Maximus? I'd like to hear from him again.
Hello, David Cluse here. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm just gonna put someone else on just to say hello. I don't know if you know who Andrew Tate is. I've got Andrew Tate. What I said to Greg Thunberg is, I've got 33 Bugattis. That's because I'm a top G.
You put David back on, mate.
Why don't you want to speak to the top G?
That's just because obviously PBC's David's secretary. So.
Hello, David Clues here. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. I've been trying to speak to Tommy Robinson. He won't speak to me, but he came on your stream last week. How do I get him on?
I'm choking on my fuck. Oh fuck!
That's funny. Well, how did you get him on your stream? He will not speak to me at all.
The only thing that you're not correct on is the stutter. You know that PBC.
I maybe need to work on that then.
You do, eh? PBC's unmuted finally, eh? Oh,
no,
David shot my employer.
No, the accent. David's a posh Glaswegian.
No, there's no one posh in Glasgow.
He's got more of a posh boy accent.
He's even got the laughter now, man. Oh,
listen,
cool.
Yeah? What do you mean sharing that stream from this week? Yeah? Let me tell you what's going on in golf.
I like this.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
See, we went to Birmingham with the EDL. And all we could see in Birmingham, was ISIS flags and ISIS banners, saying Islam rules Hollywood, Islam runs all the banks, and Islam will take over. And I turned around to my mate with dreadlocks, and do you know what he said? I said, do you love Israel? Do you hate Islam? And do you know what my mate with dreadlocks? Do you know what he said? He said, yeah, man. And that's why Islam have stolen it and named a country after it. Fucking mugs.
Right. That's all right. All right. That's enough now, though. Eh? Like,
go ahead. Cheers for jumping on that.
I don't want to derail the rest of the stream. Fucking hell. Yeah, he's good at his accent, so I'll give him that. Babushka's fucking off and on here.
Go ahead, Babushka. Nice to see you, Queen. Love you, girl. Scouts.
Man. Get out. Jesus. There's accents. Well, she's away. Well, and it's back to three of us again. I'm actually surprised, though. I mean, I'm not going to take it personally that more people didn't fucking fire on the night, you know? But I'm a bit upset. Microaggressions and whatnot.
I'm upset.
People
I was
do the big
rushing
talk
home.
in the chat. William, you little rat.
I've been rushing home and Scots Armour never turned up, so
fuck him.
Kick his ass.
You'll have to hold the fort for 2 seconds, though, because I need to take the doggy out for the pee-pee. But, you know, we've got about half an hour out. Well, I can end it any time, in fairness, but, you know, roughly 2 hours is how long a stream goes. So hold the fort for 2 minutes, please. But I'll post the link again. If anybody wants to join, feel free. More than welcome to. Unless you've got long hair, then you're not allowed. I don't want people with long hair.
I need to cut my hair off then.
No, you're fine. You're a woman, that's fine. But men with long hair, I don't like. That's just a fact.
Why William's away for William? Because of just
go take a dog out.
Why DJ's away for it? If anyone's got any little, as DJ said the other week when he was joking, if anyone wants to turn things spicy, ask some little spicy questions in the chat, and I'm happy
Yeah, you
to
could do
answer.
a question and answer. It'd be quite interesting.
Let's get spicy.
I seen your camera going on, Toffee. About
I
10
know, yeah.
minutes
Turned it on to the
ago.
performance. I meant to
Yeah,
press unmute and turn my fucking camera.
I've done that. I'm not telling you which stream because people go back and see if they can find it, and it was still there last time I looked. But I went to hit unmute and hit the camera button, and literally just flicked on the screen and no more.
Everyone knows what I look like. Hey, I tell you what, a funny one. Last night, oh, she's lovely and she doesn't mean anything by it, but she fucking makes me blush. I'm sure people have seen the lovely Jemima Puddle Duck in the chats. Jesus Christ, she makes me fucking blush. She was going in on me last night, talking about fucking wanting my sperm in her vagina and wanting me to
Bloody
dress
hell.
up in a fucking blast suit and that. And I said, settle down, mate, Jemima.
Giving away
She's
trade
joking
secrets
like,
here.
but fucking hell.
Trade secrets here in the chat.
We're only
So
here for salacious gossip.
What
Yeah, what's
happens?
the view of Rev? Yeah, here's a good one. What's the view of Reverend Simon Sideway jumping into Badger's stream a few times? Right. Glad you asked, Woodlander. I think he's like a little. He realises Tommy Robinson's. Yeah, more about who led him on than him, but I'll just briefly say about him. I believe personally he's realised that ship has sunk, so he's trying to jump himself into upper circles, such as ours. But I will say, so we jumped onto 42s originally, and then I got a few little fucking puffers moaning that I'd kicked off on him for no reason, which I didn't. I'd let him speak for a while, and then was simply asking him, why are you suddenly starting to hang around our circles? Why have you suddenly become more based after like literally 7 years of being a Tommy tag and calling us the real far right and the real racists? So then he jumps on to Rags and Jack's stream, who I was the best of friends with until recently. I spoke to them, especially Jack. I felt like I had a good relationship with him, and I was planning on going over to Northern Ulster. Thought that we were good mates. I feel like Rags and Jack, if you're listening, either of you, you know I literally DM'd you this. I won't say anything that I'm not willing to say to you personally. I said it to both of you. I DM'd both of you. I think you're a pair of cowards. You got him on that stream. So it was a Joe Marsh stream. And then part of the way through, you decided to get fucking soft shite on. And he called him a YouTube celebrity. YouTube superstar, in fact, was the exact quote. You got him on like a pair of excited little schoolgirls and just tongued his fucking asshole out throughout the thing. Joe Marsh goes silent for about half an hour. And you were just like, yeah. So me and Jack were going back and forth on Telegram. I asked the question in the chat. I wasn't being obnoxious. I simply said, do you regret calling people, since you're now quote-unquote based, do you regret calling us the real far right and the real racists for literally years on end? Wouldn't ask him. So we're going back and forth on Telegram, which was cowardly as fuck, Jack. Cowardly as fuck and dishonest as fuck. We were going back and forth, and I was saying, just ask him the question. So you said, all right, I'll ask him. You asked him not the question that I'd asked at all. So I was like, right, that's dishonest. I'm starting to see me ass a little bit now. Since bear in mind, I'm like a loyal viewer of yours and one of your mods and followers, and you get this little fucking shit dick on and you won't ask him a simple question. So then, after little fucking gay ass at the chat starts sort of turning on me and saying, oh, that's what Toffee's like, he's a Scoser. Specifically, I got that comment a few times. Scosers, kicking off. Scosers, you fucking little pussy cowards. You just wouldn't ask him a basic question I'd asked you to ask him, and it was pathetic. If you got Tommy Robinson, yeah, bear in mind, this fella's got like Simon Sideways, 80,000 subscribers. Have you, Rags, or have you 42, have you seen many of the subscribers come over to your side? Have you gained those many subscribers over sucking his fucking dick? You haven't, have you? Little pair of cowards. You fancy yourselves as YouTubers. we're in these circles, I think, because I'm sick of dishonesty and disingenuous shite, and I want honesty, and I thought you were honest. And if you can't even be honest in front of 80 people in the chat, I don't know what, you're a lost cause, pussies. And I've told you both straight, for anyone who says, oh, you just fucking, I've told you both straight, you cowards. I wouldn't trust you to have my back when it comes down to it, because you speak to me like F-Nats when you speak to me, and then you speak to the likes of him, and you suddenly turn into little pussy Sid-Nats. You're not a YouTuber. You've got 1.3 thousand subscribers, for fuck's sake. Keep your morals intact. Don't betray what you apparently believe and start sucking up to these fucking faggots, in my opinion.
Oh, I caught the tail end of that. My dog's been a little cunt. He wouldn't pee, so I've taken him back in, but it's fine. He will pee later, won't you? Yes. But like, what I will say to that is like people. You always hear the argument. You quite often hear the argument, and it's like, oh, everybody should be coming together, regardless of like a differing of opinions and whatnot. Right? That's fine. However, like, remain consistent. Like, you can disagree. Like, for example, even Wolf earlier on, he knows exactly. There's him in the chat there. He knows exactly what I was talking about when we were speaking about Mr. Rude Man and whatnot. Like, all the next day I was trying to explain my position, but it's a position I've held for fucking years. Like, it's not a position that I change willy-nilly depending on who I'm speaking to. And that's just, I just thought that was a sort of normal thing, really, to remain consistent in that respect. In all of my years that I've conversed, whether that be in the stream format or whether even before anybody knew who the fuck I was, in these sort of circles, if you will, back in the day when I had like 400 subscribers and whatnot, I was still speaking the same truth. I hate that word. My truth, bruh. Like, go back to my oldest videos, the few that still remain on my YouTube channel. I was saying the same shit back then when I was just a wee boy. Like, I've never changed them in many respects in that, and I most certainly have never changed my views simply to appease somebody who I'm speaking to. If you don't like my views, then you don't like my views. I try, for all intents and purposes, to leave my views out of like any videos that I make if I'm covering something and whatnot. Not that I make many videos anymore. It's something I don't really do as much as I used to back in the day. I just upload stuff from part and whatnot, but I try to remain consistent. And there's no effort involved, really. I have remained consistent, and that's not me going, oh, pat me in the back for being a great guy. I just thought it was a sort of normal thing to do. If you've got views that you claim to hold dear or to espouse to, then surely it shouldn't really matter who you're speaking to in that regard. Your views should be your views. Push back if you need to push back. Fucking hell, there's been the odd example over the years of me having to push back, just in jest. Don't get me wrong. Like on a live stream format or whatever, where I've felt compelled to open my mouth, because I'm not going to sit there and listen to somebody saying something that I vehemently disagree with, rightfully or wrongfully, But sometimes you do see that, and that's not just in a particular example you're speaking of. That I've seen that a few times over the years. Another example of that, one that really fucked me off, was the stream that took place on No Chance's channel, about the hate crime bill. PBC was obviously at mine that night, so we didn't say much. We kind of let Clive do the talking with a specific individual, and he started. Yeah, Cyborg, and he dug himself a fucking hole there, really, like the piss he was coming out with. But like, that stuff just fucking annoys me. Like, you can disagree with people and whatnot, and don't get me wrong, like, yeah, people have disagreements, and not everybody agrees on the same things. But you take me out the equation and you slot in some specific individuals, and they would have just agreed with what was being said by him.
Yeah. And just to clarify as well, right? If you've been one of these Sidnats and you've come over to the right side, fair enough. God bless you. You're welcome. My issue was that I was asking them to ask him a simple question and they wouldn't. They were just too busy absolutely licking his fucking bollocks off like a pair of teenage girls. And it was sickening, to be honest. Just fucking grow a spine. What the fuck? What have you got to lose? You're not making money out of this. You've got 80 people watching you and you won't even ask him a simple fucking question. You fucking pussies. It's pathetic. And as you said, yeah, if they were on talking to Cyborg, he would have just went, oh, yeah. Fuck off.
Yeah. And I mean, who was out there? Opinionated Scotsman. My views have changed a lot in the last 4 years. I see. For me, I don't know about yous. I'll throw this to yous in just a second, just to see what yous have to say on this front. But I don't necessarily think my views have changed very much. Obviously, for people that have followed my channel for a while, they'll obviously have seen the sort of progression that it's taken in terms of I went from very much being you could effectively have called me that's life, but not as we know it, BTEC. I was William. I was William. William's channel today was my channel years ago. And William's channel is fantastic. And William and the vast majority of stuff that William speaks about today is stuff that I would have been invested in today had I continued on that trajectory. There's him there. However, I became very racially conscious over the years, and it's undeniable. You know, you can sit there and talk about 9/11, the moon landings, or chemtrails, whatever it is, which I used to be very interested in, but I couldn't shake off the sort of blatant attack that was occurring, against white people. That was kind of what set me on a sort of separate trajectory to William, and that's not me besmirching him, but as I say, like, because I watch a lot of William's videos, and to be honest, I agree with everything he says. However, there's just an additional dynamic as far as I'm concerned, because I can't escape the like what's happening to white people, so, but my trajectory from that point on was I started to focus more and more on what my government were up to, and trying to establish what they were doing behind the scenes, who was controlling them, what following the money, as they say, and whatnot. And now I'm at a point where I realized that a lot of the fucking bullshit that's occurring in the world is being done deliberately to eviscerate any remnants of what was once upon a time considered white, whether that be even climate change, white people's fault. The solution to climate change, it's climate justice, which is again shafting whites. LGBT, anti-racism, etc. I could go on all night long, but my point is that's probably the only sort of progression that has occurred for me in that respect. But growing up, I was never into politics, never gave a fuck, never voted apart from for independence and for Brexit. Never voted since, never vote again. It's not my thing. But that's really it. So the only real progression that I have taken as an individual over the years throughout my 20s is, in particular, is I've gone from being invested heavily in more the sort of the bigger picture of like the grand stage of the world in terms of conspiracies, if you want to call that, to be more heavily focused on what it all means for my people. So I'll throw that back to yous.
Well, say, talking about William, I think William is extremely, say, in our circle, so to speak, William is very important. He covers things that other people don't cover. William is based as fuck. I know he is. He knows what's going on, but he covers other stuff that we don't necessarily cover on our streams, sort of thing.
Yeah. No.
Just said, who do you hate, Toffee? Roscoe? I don't know. Like, make that more clear. I don't know what you mean. I
Right.
hate a lot of people.
But I'll put that to use then. So your progression over the years, PBC. I'll come to you first because you've not said much, Noel. Your progression
Had a
over the years.
chance.
No, that's why I'm giving you the chance now. For fuck's
Oh,
sake!
sorry, girl.
Typical woman.
Speaking
Typical
too
woman.
much.
You
I
said
give her the
women
chance. She
talking.
snaps at me. Your progression over the years, like how have you changed politically, if at all?
Just become more aware that these things that seem to be distant and not related are actually all intersectional, and they all one narrative feeds another. So things like climate change should, in theory, have nothing to do with race. It should have nothing to do with sex, but that you find it's the same entities that are pushing and corrupting kids into believing this stuff, specifically kids, because adults have got opinions from living a life and their own experiences. Kids that are being taught this stuff in schools don't really have anything other than what they've got to experience through their short lives, and if all they're being taught is the same sort of indoctrination, they don't have any reference point to know that this stuff's nonsense. So they're just believing what they're told because it's teachers or adults are telling them these things are real. So a lot of it came from me sensing something seriously wrong. And as you start looking at each independent part of the narrative, you find out it's the same people further up the line that are pushing this stuff. So there is no saviour. There is no UN coming to save people. It's the UN that's practically running these narratives in all these countries across the West. So I've become quite disillusioned, quite disheartened at politics. I don't think politically there's a way for what we have just now to get us out of the situation other than to dismantle the system that's in place. I don't think
But
the way I'm not
follow-
finished yet.
I
Let me
want to ask a
finish.
follow-up question though. Like, like the question initially was like, when you were younger and whatnot, like, were you into politics and whatnot?
I was
And if you,
always into politics as a child. I was a bit of a
yeah,
boring
but like,
child. but-
who were you more in favour of and whatnot? Or
Well,
did you favour any party? That's what we're
growing
getting at.
up, growing
Well-
up, my family were Labour, and I didn't really know that much other than everybody hated Maggie Thatcher, because that's what in the cities where people lost jobs, everybody hated Maggie Thatcher unless you were a Tory. My family weren't Tories, so we just had this bogeyman figure. So as I got older, I started paying attention to different bits of the political spectrum and realising, I think Tony Blair, when he get in and then all the things that he done wrong, just none of the parties have got anything that offer anything to me. SNP don't offer anything to Scotland other than the spectre of independence. It's not even independence, it's just this idea of independence. The other two are just puppets. Lib Dems are a joke party, they're just there to make the numbers. They're never going to get into power on their own steam. And the smaller independent little parties that you've got popping up, like Alba, even things like PA and things like that, there's too many small parties at the minute. In the system that we're in, we need to rejig this entire thing because it's becoming a lot of people don't even want to vote, they don't want to participate and try to change it because they know that the system that's in place right now is rigged against them. And that's probably where my disillusionment has came from, just living life and realising that these parties, you vote one out in a general election, you get another one in and they say they're going to do something. They do a wee bit of what they promised so that people go, oh, look how good they are. And then they just turn into the same party that was in for the last 17 years or whatever. And they become a clone. They're changing the tie. You're still getting the same product. You're just getting a different name for it.
Yeah. That's why I love this comment as well. On a side note, like, mate, I can't get my head around that. I can't either. So don't ask me to explain it.
Do you
But
know, lad? I sort of know what he means. I disagree with the fucking silly.
I get what he means, but I just
cunt.
can't. I
No.
can't. It's just, it makes my microaggressions very upset.
Yeah,
just-
if you ask the same question to me, what PBC just
Yeah, like-
answered. Roscoe, first of all, I really object to the term ranting. I wasn't ranting. I was talking about Rags and Jack, if you listened, and I wasn't ranting. That term, ranting, is so fucking, like, it just sort of disintegrates what you're saying, kind of thing. Oh, you're ranting. Wasn't ranting. I was saying what I thought. But yeah, my sort of, I'm a bit of a weird one. My sort of, I was quite based when I was a kid. I can remember history lessons and shit, and I questioned it. And then I was sort of lucky / unlucky enough to have a kind of mentor who was involved in nationalism in Merseyside when I got to about 16. And he sort of pointed me, he never said, this is what you should think. He just told me to look certain things up. So I did of my own accord, and then realised how the world works. So in terms of quote unquote baseness, I've sort of been base since I was about 16. I just realised how shit went on. To be fair, not bigging myself up, but like
no, but like Scots Armour is a good example. Even William, I know you can't come on, obviously, but like you'd be great for this wee section that we're on now, just because of the conversation. But like William said himself on streams, same way that Scots Armour's mentioned a few times over the years in streams, that the both of them are sort of associated. William, I can't remember if you said before you were associated with. Well, Tommy Sheridan was it Labour SNP? Regardless, like they were both associated with political parties to a certain extent. They weren't like, standing for election and whatnot, but they were, to sort of paraphrase them, they became disillusioned from the party that they once upon a time associated with. Scots Armour most certainly can say confidently was SNP, but William, I can't remember that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that you said that you canvassed back in the day for Tommy Sheridan, but I'm having a bit of a brain fart and I can't. Yeah, the solidarity. There you go. There's him there. See, I do listen, William. Told you. But they're both disillusioned now. And I think though that speaks to a much larger issue for a lot of people. Like there's a lot of people that were once upon a time affiliated with a political party or political figures and whatnot, and they became disillusioned. And I think it speaks volumes to the sort of cliche term of the silent majority. To be honest, I'd love to see just how many people out there. Oh, there he is. There he fucking is. There he is with his little 3G. Yeah, doesn't even have 4G. It's 3G coming in here. But there's.
Do you know what, mate? Quickly talking about what William just said, that Tommy Sheridan. I used to listen to a radio call-in that he had, and Tommy Sheridan really did seem like a good man. He'd give time to people who rung up. So you had people ringing up worried about, like people who were working and were worried about the benefits. And Tommy Sheridan did give them the time of day, to be fair to him, but he's turned out to be a bit of a cook.
He's a bit of a prick now. He's a prick now.
Yeah,
I used to think he was a good speaker. He used to be a good speaker back when he was campaigning against poll tax, and even at the start when he was part of the Scottish Socialists. But
he called the Scottish people a mongrel race.
He's just
really,
yes,
totally. Was that thing we were at?
No, this was years ago. Scots Armour remembers it as well. I've never been able to find the articles and the videos on it, but I recall at the time hearing it. And Scots Armour can attest that. He's in the chat now.
William said it as well.
There you go. William said it as well.
Jesus Christ!
He called the Scottish people a mongrel race. Like,
he used to be able to command an audience, and he was good at holding
Still
public
does.
speaking, but he said fuck all about anything that happened in the last 4 years where everybody's rights were taken away. He said nothing. And he said nothing about what's happening in Scotland with the hate crime bill and all these things that are now being pushed in. Where is he? He's floating about on stages for outfits like Believe in Scotland because somebody's paid him to turn up, or he's getting his face in the paper. He's done nothing.
He seemed like a
politically.
genuine fella when I listened to him. Fucking hell. I can't believe he said that.
No, a Scotsman calling his own people a mongrel race. It's like it's ideological. I don't
Sheridan's
believe...
more of an Irish name, so maybe he's the mongrel.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
We know what the B stands for in PBC, don't we now? It's big.
Do you know what I've been asking you over the last few months on Telegram? And I've not heard a fucking peep out of this fucking commie cunt. Frankie Boyle, do you know, with the fucking hate crime bill, you'd think that he would be one of the main people who would open his mouth about it. But that dirty little fucking evil cunt, as far as I've seen, hasn't said a word about it. Yeah, I might be wrong, he might have, but as far as I've seen,
he did once. Remember it was a few weeks ago, mind, the stream we did with Sensen pulled up. It was the stream before I had the funeral. I had to leave. Sensen pulled up an article from that Free Speech Union, and it was about Frankie Boyle. He finally came out and spoke about it purely because there was talk of comedians being jailed and whatnot. I don't have the article to hand, obviously, but that was about the only time that he actually spoke out about it. But no, prior to that, he never said anything. Don't recall him saying anything during the Coof bullshit.
Yeah, so it's talking when
it was popular, yeah. Yeah. So it's just a standard fucking procedure at this point with these people, to be honest. Yeah,
I recommend I used to be a fan of Frankie Boyle. I like a bit of dark humour. I recommend to everyone, read this book, My Shit Life So Far. He's of Irish heritage. Read that book and it comes through clear as day. He fucking hates Scottish people. And honestly, if you read it, it'll come through clear as day. He got bullied in school a little bit. He's one of these little victims who ends up becoming a commie because he got picked on a little bit. He fucking absolutely hates the people of Scotland. He's a disgusting, disgusting man. You're talking about a man who's happy. Like, I'm happy with close to the bone jokes, but he's got one of these stand-ups from a few years ago. He spends Down syndrome jokes, kids getting raped, all sorts. And then he ends his closer of this comedy thing is talking about the rape gangs. And he goes into one and he like breaks the fourth wall and it's not comedy anymore and he's being himself. And he's like, I thought that was racist, the way they reported on this. It's like, this is the hill you choose to die on, you dirty fucking commie, disgusting cunt. Lefties' brains are wired up wrong. How you can spend an hour making jokes about kids with Down syndrome and they get offended about racism is fucking sickening.
Yeah, and he was always renowned for, like, as you said, the dark humor, and then he got cancelled himself. He wasn't allowed to mock the week anymore for like how fucking heinous is. No, he wasn't allowed to mock the week, and I think it was something to do with some of the stand-up shows, if memory serves me correct. So he was cancelled for a while. Mock the week, he wasn't on that anymore. He was sort of disavowed and disowned from the BBC for a while. Then he came back with some fucking comedy show when he had the likes of Afua Hirsch, etc. on it. He I can't remember the name of it. New World Order, that's what it was called. Yeah. He would swag it on with his fucking oversized suits, and he would just sit there and berate every single like alleged right-wing talking point, whether it was Brexit or immigration, etc. You know, reading his teleprompter with his premeditated gags and whatnot, and all of his like initial comedic value was sort of retrained into just shitting on the vast majority of people who have a problem with immigration, etc. Like, nah, fuck him, ginger dickhead.
He was the one. It was one of the most complained about shows on Ofcom. He's got him, some black woman, and Muslim of some sort. Do you remember that quote talking about Black Lives Matter? Yes. We're not trying to kill white people. We are. Right, if that was comedy, I'd laugh at it, but it wasn't. And you got the other Muslim fella, a Muslim, laughing about fucking black people's slave trade, talking about the Barbary shit, because they'll team up with each other as long as it's against us. And it was so fucking sickening.
Yeah.
I don't know if Scots was trying to get on. I've sent him the link again because he said the link you sent him wasn't working.
That's weird.
I don't know if I've asked him in the chat.
I'll fire it to him quickly. I mean, I don't want to go on too much longer, but I'll fire it to him quickly. But Meyer Tusi, that's a funny one. He's getting a
Meyer Tusi is a pussy.
Ryan Spear loves Meyer Tusi, by the way.
Fuck off! Please tell me that's a lie.
No, he fucking does.
He's getting on my nerves. Like I never really followed him anyway, to be honest. I don't follow anybody, but I'm subscribed to him obviously, so he comes up my subscriber count. There's him there. I'll shop. Scots, how's it going, my friend?
All right, mate. All right. How's it going?
Well, picking up your slack, mate. It's all in a day's work, I suppose.
Well, to be fair, I can't argue with that. You did do that. As it is, unfortunately.
No. If you're here for fucking 5-10 minutes, that's fair enough. I'll just add as a caveat to anybody listening. We've actually had a pretty cushy viewer count tonight, so that's pretty good. But I will say though that if Scots does sound at any point jittery or he jumps out in and out, it's because his internet's a bit fucked at the moment. But yeah, I don't know how much you've listened to, obviously, and whatnot, but let's throw you in at the deep end. What's your opinion on Meyer Tusi?
Opinion on who?
Meyer Tusi.
I don't know who that is.
You fucking do, you lying bastard. You've sent me photos of him in the bath. Him, that cunt.
Oh, the wee Tommy's pal. It doesn't matter which shade of brown you are. You're effectively an Englishman. That's that's a fucking a bit of an insult to say the least. But do you know something? I think it's no surprise. You see a lot of these grifters, and they kind of stick their neck out there for each other to defend, because if one of them goes down, it's kind of easy to bring down other people within the circle. He's an agitator. He plays onto certain narratives to try and get some support, predominantly from Civnats, and Civnats are equally as much a problem as these people. I think any normal and proud Englishman would, or even British person for that matter, would be wise enough to know that people like him don't speak for people like us, have no place in our circles, and quite frankly should just fuck off back to where they came from.
Do you know something? Earlier, I think that's why he was late for this stream. I'm sure he was driving my bus. DJ knows what I'm talking about. The guy that was driving my bus sounded exactly like Scots Armour.
You just proved his point.
No, I don't think we all sound the same, but this guy did sound like Scots, the accent, even just the way he delivers things.
Well, cheers for docs. I mean, that's me. I'm going to give him my fucking P45 tomorrow. Cheers, mate.
That's all right. I'll give him my coin collection.
Well, that's something that me and Sadiq have got in common. The bus journeys and the free fares is just, it's within the family circle, so to speak.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, man.
It's good to see Toffee, but it's good to see Toffee. I hope you're all right.
No, mate. No, mate. No. I'm sorry, mate. This isn't Sunday with the lads. This is my stream. You'll speak correctly. There'll be no buts. Okay? So, it's good to see Toffee. End sentence. No, it's good to see Toffee, but no, we're not doing that here. Okay?
This is what I need to put up with. I need to put up with this.
There's Toffee in the top right corner. Toffee, mate, how you doing, mate?
Hey, that's better. Can you get in there?
Scots.
What's
pieces?
Sandwiches.
Aye.
Even that sandwiches? Like, you shut the fuck up.
What's a do? What's a do?
A do?
Yeah.
It's a pigeon. A pigeon. And it lives in a dewcot or a ducat.
Aye. Is it aye?
It does, aye.
I'll tell you one thing, though, that it did confuse me a bit using BJ with discussing it. He was talking about a glass rather than a cup or a pint.
Tumbler. A tumbler.
A tumbler.
It's a fucking glass.
It's a glass. Like,
anybody know what a tumbler is?
It's a glass.
Yeah, I know what it is, but the way you were saying it wasn't correct.
No,
DJ was being insane. We were like, nah, we call it this. I've never.
Yeah, it's just retarded. What I'm saying is, like, the redcoats, they colonized the remnants of the Scottish culture, and then PBC and Scots Armour and every other one of you bastards thought you would just bastardize the language even further. We went from speaking Gaelic to speaking English to whatever the fuck this is. Here's a glass. It's a tumbler. Right. So it's not a tumbler. It's a fucking glass. I'm sorry. It's a glass. It's not a tumbler.
So do you say, like, PBC and Scots Armour, if you're going to order a bevy at the bar, you'll say, "Can I have a tumbler?"
No,
you wouldn't say that.
Don't talk nonsense.
Right.
You say take a tumbler.
You can't break the fourth wall.
It doesn't work like that.
You can't.
A tumbler is something that you would have in your kitchen. Like, go and get a couple of tumblers. But if you're in a pub, you got to ask for a pint.
Aye, you don't ask for a tumbler of anything.
No, I'm sorry. You don't break the fourth wall, redefine words, and then determine the rules.
And
that's what you were saying, though. You were saying it's a tumbler.
To be fair, mate,
I'm going to say something. Shut your gaggy a minute.
No, listen, mate. You've got to understand, right? In DJ's defence, they never got a pub until Witherspoon's opened up in 1994. Let me away with it.
You would ask for a tumbler at the cupboard if you were pouring a pint into a what do you call it? A can into a glass. You would ask somebody to go and get a tumbler. You wouldn't ask for a tumbler in a pub.
This is retarded. Like,
you wouldn't even ask for it in a house party. That's fucking nonsense.
So they're breaking. This is what I'm saying. So you break the fourth. This is what I said. You're breaking the fourth wall, redefining words, and then you've got your own rule book as to how.
How are we redefining? Google tumbler. You'll see a glass.
Right, you'll see.
No, yeah, we know what it means. You and Scots Armour were specifically saying that you asked for the tumbler. You did.
Yeah, you would say if somebody asked you for a tumbler, you'd go and get them a glass.
So it's a glass.
You wouldn't go, "Excuse me, darling, but what are you talking about? I do not know such things."
Well, I
get them a
bloody
glass.
Well, exactly.
There was a piece. Somebody said, "Make me a piece."
No, here, do you know
if somebody said,
I'm not accepting this, right? Inverness is a poor man's Aberdeen, and Liverpool is a poor man's Manchester, right? Get it right up the fucking berries.
A poor man's Aberdeen. Wow.
If somebody asks you for a piece and a tumbler, you're going to be knackered in Inverness.
I'm knackered listening to this shit, to be honest. I mean, this is retarded. If you ask me for a glass, you'll get a glass. You ask me for a tumbler, I'll ask you to explain what you're talking about. Then you have to go, well, sometimes we say tumbler, but sometimes we say glass. It really just depends on the situation and where we are. It's all about environment, Now, fuck off. It's a glass. So if it's a pub, it's a glass, but if it's in a house party, it's a fucking tumbler. Yeah,
you don't ask. You don't ask for a tumbler full of a liquid. You ask for a tumbler to put the liquid in.
You're just writing rules, random stupid rules.
You two blatantly said that you asked for a tumbler in certain situations. You fucking said that. You definitely said that.
Not of something. Not
If
of
you're in a
something,
pub,
but to
if you're
put
in
it
a
in.
pub, it's a glass. But if you're in a house party, it's a fucking tumbler. But
No, if I was drinking wine,
thanks
I'd
for that.
ask for a wine glass.
Is that amazing?
If I was
Yeah.
drinking pint, I would ask for
Okay,
a pint.
okay. So why wouldn't you ask for a wine tumbler?
I'd say, can I have a pint tumbler?
Okay.
Oh, do
Thanks.
you fuck? You'd never say that.
Retarded. The fuck, man. You're like, glass.
Listen,
Don't
we'll
worry,
never
mate.
bring
I'm
up.
going to call my next kid Tumblr.
This day forward,
We're not even bringing up stuff about petrol stations. So shush.
you people are forever known as the chromosome deprived Scots.
You need your
Yeah, no,
ass.
he's got a point. He's got a point.
I do.
The most
And it's not
civilized
Tumblr, it's a
part,
point.
the most civilized part of the country, but chromosome short. It's all right, mate. You stick up there with your sightseeing of forbidden fucking Loch Ness monsters and your sheep antics. You stick to what you do best, and we'll just enjoy your tumblers. That's fine. And see for
Tumblers
you,
for-
Scotty, see for you, mate. See with the way I have it. See these guys coming off the boats. I'm going to make them build the fucking wall, and you can keep your Scottish racism to yourself, mate. I don't think I'm
Do you know
going
what,
to let
mate?
that one slide.
I will accept and embrace that future. It's fine. I very much look forward to it, to be honest. You can keep your fucking weird gay Tumblr nonsense to yourself.
And you
as
keep
far
your
as I'm concerned.
fucking
You probably have.
Backstreet Boys fucking pictures to yourself, mate.
Yeah.
Here's another one that
You've got a Tumblr
everybody.
as well, probably, but it's fine.
Do you know
That's
what
it, well,
DJ needs to have? A tumbler full of chopped egg.
And that's another thing, isn't it? Everybody
It's
enjoys a nice mashed egg in a cup. DJ's like, oh, that's an Irish thing. That's an Irish
Well,
thing.
it is Irish. You know it's Irish, but it's fine.
Next
It
time I talk
is
to
an
Buck
Irish
too, I'm asking him if
delicacy.
he has mashed egg in a cup.
It's
Even
Irish.
his granny,
Chucky
even
egg,
his
we call
gran
that,
said that
don't
she
we?
likes it.
It is an
I
Irish
have to
one.
ask, but when PBC and Scots Armour were talking about it, I said, is that the same thing as Chucky egg? Yeah,
Aye.
it's the same thing.
Egg. Yeah, I know, but like, my point
Senston calls it
that
something
doesn't
else as
prove,
well.
or just that doesn't do, because Liverpool obviously has an Irish contingent, so Liverpool is
Oh,
infected.
fuck off.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. So you people down there have been.
You people.
Oh, fuck off! You're not going to stop. You're not. I'm saying though that's the delicacy, if you want to call it that, is spread like chlamydia down there, the same way it's spread in Glasgow. Nobody else has this egg in a cup bollocks apart from fucking Irish people, and by extension, the people that live around Irish people, Glasgow, Liverpool.
Wow.
Plenty of people eat it.
Plenty of people don't though, so shut your gig.
Oh, Inverness is not everyone.
Inverness is better than fucking Glasgow, so
You just said earlier it was shit.
yeah, it's shit, but
What fuck shit?
it's still better than Glasgow. It's shit. In fact, if anything, BBC, thanks for nailing that final nail in that coffin. Inverness is better than Glasgow. You just said it's shit. Exactly. What's that say about Glasgow? Scots, why don't you prove my point? Vindicate me by telling us all your wee story from earlier on if you want. You don't have to, but yeah, I thought that was quite humorous. Your wonderful story from your weekend. I thought that was funny.
Oh, mate.
Please go for it. Go for it.
Wait, to be fair, right, in my defence, it's very rare that I drink, right? Truly, very rare. But last night I was fucking mad with it. I was honest, I was steaming. And I ended up in a wee place outside of Glasgow, wee village called Lanark. And it was good. I was out visiting, I had a day out and whatnot, and end up in this wee pub called a tavern. And some of the people were asking questions because, like that, Glasgow's quite. You have to go out the way to get here. And they were saying, "Oh, it's really good. It's city culture and it's moving up and it's got this and that." And well, 4 pints done, and that was it. I started letting my belly rumble, and I started obviously talking about the absolute fucking state of the place, and I was giving it kind of in a very harsh language that you should evade the place. It should be flattened to a certain degree. there was a chap there I spoke to, a taxi boy. He was really nice, but he was saying his young lassie, she was meant to be going to college in Glasgow, and he was kind of horrified with the things that I was saying. To such a degree, when I was having a one-to-one conversation with a guy at a bar, it turned in, it was like effectively a handful of people, maybe a bit more, had kind of gathered. And then as the night went on, I'm not even exaggerating, there must have been about 12 people just sitting listening to me talk about the problems of growing up and the problems that are currently in Glasgow. And I made quite the impression last night, but it was interesting because for somebody who's born and bred in this city to kind of get a view of what it's like for the outside for people that are somewhat sheltered to a certain extent was a bit of a wake-up call, because I think it's one of those ones that Glasgow's looked at. It's kind of like a holiday brochure. You see all the good stuff, but you don't really see what the place is actually like until you get there. And I think for a lot of these people who are staying in the sticks, hearing from what it's actually really like was a bit of a wake-up call for them last night. So, it was lovely. Again, I got told I made quite an impression this morning. I couldn't remember a fucking thing, nonetheless. I had to have got this told back to me last night, sorry. But aye.
Do you know, mate, I suspected you'd had a few drinks last night. I got a fucking barrage of DMs off Scots Armour just saying, "Mono, you wee cunt." Like fucking 10 of them for no reason.
Mate, right, Toffee, here's the thing. Right? I was talking to this guy, right, and he was absolutely brand new, and he was like asking me about places where to stay, where to no stay, places where eating, etc., and all that. And I had kind of related back to this guy that if your daughter is a well-educated, smart young lassie, Glasgow's not a place for it. And the guy was really nice. He was showing us pictures of his wife, his lassie, and all the rest of it. And I turned and said, "See that pretty wee lassie? Keep her away from it. It's full of creeps, degenerates, and rapists." I'm not saying that to scare you, mate. That's just simply how it fucking is. And long story short, this man literally told his lassie on the spot he'd prefer her to go to a local college rather than Glasgow, because he was horrified about the things that I was telling him last night. He had asked me a number of things, and I says to him, like years ago, you'd probably hear about the sectarianism in the city being the main divider. I says, and it's still there, but it's not as prevalent as what it is. And I was trying to describe to him, like growing up in a city that you recognise and you can see roots, your own people and your communities are all tight-knit, to effectively Albanians fighting Somalians over a fucking drug dispute. It's like something, with the greatest respect, straight out an American movie. Just avoid it at all costs. And these people were literally looking at me as if they had heard the Bible for the first time. Their jaws were on the floor, like couldn't actually fucking fathom what I was saying to them when I was like showing them pictures and stuff. Here, you want to see what the fucking ghetto's like? I'll show you what the ghetto's like. And these people were like fucking mind blown, because you're just taking it on good faith that it's a half decent city, because they get told this for other people and they vote at the local fucking SNP stations, etc., and they're hearing for their fucking people in there. Oh no, Glasgow's a great place to go and get educated and live and go out and get something to eat. So, last night was a bit an education for both sides, I suppose.
Just thought it was funny the way you described it this morning, to be honest. That's just brilliant. But before I wrap things up, where did he go? This is funny. Maya Tusi, he's back again because of RR in the comments. I know he's an immigrant, as he wasn't even born in England and has no family. Blah blah blah. And he then followed it up with a second one, though he sees England going the same way as his own land country, and follows it up thirdly by saying
he's an ally in terms of his politics and wanting the best for the country, not a civnat. He is a civnat, and I'll tell you exactly why he's a civnat. And I can't remember exactly who he was talking about, but he was covering something not that long ago on his channel. Steve Laws, that was it. He was talking about Steve Laws. He called Steve Laws far right, and his video was talking about how this proves that Tommy Robinson isn't a racist because Tommy Robinson called out Steve Laws. And his premise for his video was basically saying that Steve Laws is far right because Steve Laws thinks that English people are white. So the takeaway from what he was saying there is that far right people think English people are white, but yet the argument really that he was being very disingenuous with there is that Steve Laws doesn't think that at all. There's many white people out there who are not English at all. A Polish person is not English. A German person is not English. Two Germans who have a child in England, that child is German. It's not English, etc. Steve Laws has been very crystal clear on his beliefs. Whether you agree with them or not is another matter entirely. But it's very disingenuous to insinuate that somebody is far right and to sort of deliberately gaslight and mislead your audience by insinuating that these people just you have to be white to be English. No, it's Steve Laws goes a bit deeper than that. He brings up ethnicity deliberately so. So Maya Tussi's sitting there on his video talking about Steve Laws being far right and saying that he thinks only white people can be English. It's not a white or a black thing or a yellow thing or whatever the fuck. It's ethnicity as far as Steve Laws is concerned. It's been pretty crystal clear on that for the longest time. So Maya Tussi is an Iranian. He's made no secret of that fact, but yet he berates people who believe in ethnicity. So no, but I mean this stuff. I'll sort of end on this, and then I'll come around the panel one last time for we end proceedings. This stuff's just annoying. Really, it's not really any different to that transgender Scottish person. I don't. They were on Millennial a few years ago. Also, because of transgender, Scrump Monkey.
Sorry, can I interrupt? Sorry, do you know what, lad? I thought you were being a little bit snarky with your comment earlier, saying I was ratting, and you've just proved my fucking point. You're one of them, you fucking Sidna, divvy. I've no time for people like you. Really, I haven't.
That applies to Maya Tussi as an immigrant. Is Sadiq Khan objectively an immigrant? He was born in Britain, so he's got a British passport, but he's quite clearly not English, is he? Sadiq Khan is Pakistani. Like, it's not a contentious point, really, is it? You know? English
You're on the wrong stream, lad, if you're going to be talking shit like that.
It's just fucking stupid, really. Like, not all white people are English, but all English people are white, phenotypically speaking. Okay? Like, it's not difficult. There you go. Thank you, Whitlander. There you go. There you go. But, like, the point I was bringing up there is, like, it's the same with the transgender, Scrump Monkey they go by on, like, YouTube and whatnot. Oh, here's a transgender that says the things that we say. Let's embrace them. So because what? Maya Tussi says some really hot, cool base things about the SNP or Sadiq Khan or the Westminster establishment. Let's embrace them. No, he's still a disingenuous little rat bag for what I just explained. He called Steve Laws, and by extension, anybody who reiterates what Steve Laws says, is far right. And then to prove his point, bullshits about his definitions, you know? Nah, I've got no time for people like that at all.
Sorry, you fucking little faggot. I literally explained this to you about 20 minutes ago. You fucking dishonest little twat bag. I knew you were being a fucking dishonest cunt when you said I was ranting. I literally explained the Scouser thing to you. Fuck off, you little fucking nit. Cunt. 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 Sorry.
Right. Okay. All right. I think it's probably best to wrap up proceedings now. So, yeah, because even I'm still that stuff, I'm biting bait myself. So, I'll come down the panel, Scotch. When your internet's back up, are you just going to wait till Bruce's stream, or are you going to do something midweek? It's entirely up to you.
Well, if it goes up midweek and I've got it running, then I will definitely do something during the week. I'm going to be looking at new providers tomorrow because the last wee while, particularly, have had a bit of issues. So I'm hoping that will kind of nip that in the bud. But I will say this before you wrap up, mate, and I'll make it really quick. See, we have a lot of people that come into these chats, and generally people who kind of portray themselves to share common ideals and values with you, but then will obviously let the veil slip, or they'll project something out there that will kind of very much hint at the true narrative behind that individual. I wouldn't really see this as an issue to berate them. They're no better than the people that protect the state of Israel. And in my God's honest opinion, these people are nothing more than weak, feeble-minded agitators who probably will sit in a group of about 4 people and they'll be like, this will be the highlight of their week. You know, they'll be like, oh my God, did you see that comment that I put onto that guy's chat? You know, I really did tell them. Fuck off, right? On a serious note, we've got more debatable, conversational, and quite frankly, a lot of content to go through. We've got a lot of points to make. We've got a lot of people to reach. And these people, they're not going to change the direction or the course of where we're getting at. They're trying to change our genetic makeup. They're trying to change our land, our values. We just abide by that, keep our chin up, remain upright. And it's not the matter of if, it's when the flip side will come, and it's coming soon. We're seeing it all across Europe, Ireland, Germany, France, Italy, even here in Scotland. The illusion, the erosion of the picture that has eroded the soul of our people, this liberal makeup, is failing, and it's failing fast, and it will be the ethnic sovereign souls of the European continent that will rebuild it. And I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, man. PBC?
I'm not really sure what to say there. Just hope everybody has a good week.
Based. Well, if Scots does go live midweek or whatever, then obviously you'll be on that stream, and the invitation has been extended to coming on with us and Bruce next Sunday as well. So, regardless of
quite like to speak to Bruce because I've spoken to him and back and forths on DMs and stuff for years. So it'd be nice even just to say hello and get a bit of a chat. But
well, you can definitely come on that one. But if Scots goes live prior to that, you're obviously going to be on that one anyway, because that was what was initially meant to be the case. So regardless, you'll be on anyway. You're more than welcome in any stream that I'm on anyway, as my other half, my dear. And to you, Toffee, sir, obviously me and you will be live again tomorrow night with Sensum. Anything you want to plug yourself? Have you had any more information regarding you were talking about doing a stream with Joe Marsh and whatnot? Any information on that yet, or is it still watch the space type shite?
Yeah, it's still watch this space. He's got him and Sensum are going back and forth, and I've not heard anything. I reckon it might be a good idea. Do you know that Sensum stream that he does the wood through the trees?
Yeah.
I reckon that'll be a decent one if we do it on that, and then we could get, I don't know, like James Hayworth on, William, various people, Rab Ingram, even Woodlander, people who are willing to come on. But no,
Well,
it's still in the pipeline. But
Well,
Centum hasn't put up the link as of yet. I don't know if you got it yet, Deej. Have you got it?
No, he normally
No.
sends up the. Well, not to be fair, he normally sends it on the Sunday.
Yeah,
So
he
no, I
normally
don't
does,
have it.
doesn't he? We've not got it yet. But yeah, just to close, so we'll be live tomorrow. Good fucking trolling there, RR, you little fucking cunt. Good trolling. Cunt.
Right.
But yeah, that's it.
Right. Well, all he is, I'm just going to play it with a tune and then I'm fucking off. So there's no point you staying backstage. You can just bail. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for the chat. Pretty high view count, all things considered, given the fact it was impromptu. But yeah, until next time, adios. So, love you. Bye bye. See ya.
Do you know what you're looking for? Do you think this place is on the map?